Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. Also, drink responsibly. Don't snort coke off of dirty glass.
Don't pick up cigarettes.
Don't pick up cigarettes off the ground.
If you watch anything in this movie and you're like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to try this,"
good point.
You got bigger problems. All right. Whenever you're ready, Ethan.
Yeah.
Not now.
He's been recording for a minute and two.
Oh, seriously?
It's okay.
Oh, shit. That is what that red light means.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're just giving Jay more work.
I'm going to edit like 55 seconds of it. I'm not editing all of that.
Jesus Christ.
So what are we?
Oh, we're actually... Welcome, everybody, to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is Brady Davis.
Jody Cade.
Okay, man, like the musical thing worked last week because we all went fucking apeshit with it.
I'm doing the NPR thing, and you're coming in.
Hard with the Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
There you go. Who's
I'm not going to be extra. I'm Ethan Skinner.
Okay, cool.
Not
Well,
gonna be
I
extra.
just heard the news today
Oh, God.
that my name is James McCarthy. That's my name now.
Ladies and
It's always
gentlemen,
been my name.
Scott Stapp.
Oh,
I would say
wait a
slumming.
minute. Hand me that Chivas Regal.
I would say
Don't drink responsibly.
I would say slumming it, but we all know how Scott Stapp's career is right now. So we'd probably give him a bump, to be honest.
If Scott Stapp ever hears this, I don't know if
What's he got to do? Try to drunkenly fight me? He couldn't whoop Fred Durst's ass. He's definitely not whipping my ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speechless. Mark that down as the first time ever. There you
Jay
go.
Bingo. There we go.
Boom.
That's one. Yeah, that's one
Yep.
for Jay. We don't have the. No one's made the bingo card for me
Because
yet.
we're all lazy.
That's fair.
I've had
That's
like 14
100%
projects going on, so
Yeah. Well, I'm lazy, and Jody just has a lot to do.
Jody's, as my mother would used to put it, Jody's busier than a one-armed paper hanger.
Sure.
now I'm speechless.
There you go. There you go.
Ethan, what have you been doing?
Fucking tweeting out shit.
Hey, I'm not tweeting.
You're
I'm
tweeting.
How many
researching.
wasps have attacked you
I
today?
see this. You were typing something.
I
How
was-
many wasps?
Was it to be? How many wasps?
Fortunately, no wasps have attacked me yet.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Did
And
they,
emphasis on yet.
did they move out?
No, not yet.
So nothing's happened for Ethan this week. All right, quick.
No. Hold your horses. Hold your
I don't
horses.
have any horses to
Hold your
sir.
horse.
Doesn't Kate Bush have a horse song?
She's got a song about
Possibly.
everything. So
Yeah.
Possibly. Personally, nothing. However,
Well, then we're done. You have nothing going on. What the fuck?
Ethan has been in a white void for the past week.
I still got something
Why
to say.
it gotta be a white void? Why can't he be hanging out in the darkness?
We did the ritual to open up the portal to get him out right before this.
that's later in the show.
that ritual. That ritual is our main topic. We'll go on further with that. So
After each episode, like Brady just shoves me into
Ethan,
the
what the
void
fuck have you been doing? Get to it already,
Okay.
Jesus!
Jesus, okay, stop.
were you trying to do a little bit? Were you trying to be disturbed there? Wah! Like,
Oh God, please no!
Yeah.
That's Jay doesn't remember this. Maybe he does. This is like real quick. Making that noise. That was something that happened on another show he used to do.
Yeah.
Like shit went out the rails and Jay just started going.
Yeah. You had to confuse people into thinking you were in peril to get the show back on the edge.
We
That's
were
how it
so
worked.
stupid he couldn't say shut up. He just
Yeah.
started making
Okay, everybody,
noise.
shh. Ethan has something to say. Ethan, what do you got to say?
Well,
I
I just heard.
Fuck me.
No,
I was
B ain't here. You want that?
Ethan,
You can leave the
Ethan.
show right now.
I was legitimately trying to get you some time.
Yeah. No, you weren't. You gave me those eyes. I'm like, you better
No,
interrupt
I
this
did not.
motherfucker.
What the fuck are those? What the fuck are the Scott Stapp eyes look like? I don't know.
You gave them.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So we need to like step in front of a mirror so you can show me those eyes so I never do
I
those
don't
eyes
want to
ever
be
again.
in front of a mirror with you because you might say Candyman 3 times and he's more likely to kill me than you.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
Ethan, what you been up to?
Yesterday,
Hello, my friend, we meet again. It's been a while. Where should we begin?
Brady, as the host,
this
do I
is
get
way
permission
more-
to mute Jay for my?
This is way
what I've been
more
doing?
Creed than has been anybody has thought of in the
Joke's
last
on you.
15 years.
I'll go over all the other microphones because I'm a loud son of a bitch.
That
You'll have
is
to mute
fair.
everybody, and then we'll have the most avant-garde podcast of all time.
Jay, do you just want to talk about what you've been doing
Yeah,
instead?
please
What the
go
fuck?
ahead. You probably had a much more exciting week than I did.
Hello, my name is James McCarthy, and I had a very uneventful week, except for the things that I cannot talk about because I'm under an NDA. So the only thing I can talk about is, gentlemen, I've started a campaign of Spelljammer with some friends. Some friends from outside of the podcast. It's great. They don't listen to this podcast. They should. Derek, John, calling you out. Just saying. You're not going to hear it, so whatever matter. So there you go.
Just screaming into the void.
So yeah, no, I started Spelljammer. We're starting very. Brady will know this. We're starting out in Saltmarsh. It's probably my favorite city in all of D&D.
Oh, okay.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that my grandfather was a shrimp boat captain. So like the whole fishing aspect of that city just kind of calls to me. I'm gonna tell a secret that I've told Jody and Jason, and now I'm gonna tell you two, and now all of our passengers. It's Spelljammer. So in Spelljammer, you're going to get a spelljamming spaceship, and you're going to travel through the cosmos and do fantasy shit, and it's going to be fucking amazing. So their ship is going to be sentient. It's going to have a name, and that name is the Omnibus. So yes, they're literally going to be travelers on the Omnibus.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
At gmail.com, 1L. Anyway, so yeah, it's literally, we had our first session. It was very fun. Brady, John interacted.
Oh, shit.
I'm just gonna I'm going to let that statement just sit there. And for
Oh,
anyone else who
shit.
wants to know, you got to get ready.
That is
But
impressive.
Yeah, he's the
wow.
bard. Do you see? This is why I wanted to lead off.
He
because
speaks
I just
one
wanted to
word,
just-
and that's all he needs for the rest of the evening.
I wanted to throw everybody else off.
Having a little bit of inside knowledge, but knowing this information prior, I was also shocked.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Even
is
more
very
so.
shocking
Yes.
information.
Yes. But no, Spelljammer is the one thing I can talk about from my week. All the rest is cloying darkness.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Now, if I may, Ethan, I will now not interrupt you. What have you been doing?
So yesterday there was a Nintendo Direct, basically for like the quarterly announcements for the upcoming year or next quarter.
Yeah.
Just some of the things like off the cuff. They announced Octopath Traveler 2, which is going to be coming out next month in the spring.
Damn.
Pikmin 4, an update for Mario Strikers. They had a little preview for the new Bayonetta 3 game coming out.
Okay.
I don't believe they gave a release date for that yet. But the biggest thing that a lot of people are taking from this is the new Legend of Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
They typically, whenever it comes to future releases, they will only give like a name or a release date. They gave both. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out May 13th.
May 13th or 23rd, I believe.
Of next this upcoming year. And that is all everybody is talking about right now.
I imagine so.
There was a bit of a bait and switch because they had Shigeru Miyamoto come on. I saw this earlier today, so it's a little bit fresher in my head. And so he was talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie and the fact that Nintendo Land over at Universal Japan has been going well, and they're going to be opening up Nintendo World in Universal. I want to say California. I don't know which spot in California, so that's kind of interesting. And then like he talked about Pikmin, and then the Pikmin that he talked about was like the Pikmin mobile game. It's like, and then he was ending his section with a very special announcement. And Shigeru Miyamoto special announcement. You think one of two things: Mario or Zelda. And everyone, it wasn't the end of the presentation yet, so it wasn't Zelda. We're getting Odyssey 2. Oh my God, it's great. And it was Pikmin 4. Now, I'm excited for Pikmin 4, but I would have been stripping naked and run down the streets for Odyssey 2. I'm just saying, they just announced that. It just so that was a little bit of a bait and switch in that one, I thought, at least in my opinion. Tears of the Kingdom is probably my favorite subtitle for a Zelda game that I've ever heard of. Like, it passes Ocarina.
It sounds like a cool name, period.
It evokes a lot of things like why were the tears shed? What are the tears of the kingdom? Is it like, weeping the kingdom that was lost when Calamity Ganon won? Like, I'm very interested to
How
figure
dark is it going to be?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. Like that one actually. That's the first time I think a title. Subtitle for a game actually kind of got me a little bit more jazzed up for it.
I didn't get a chance to watch the direct, but I've seen the internet blowing up over. I didn't know what it was, but the Tears of the Kingdom title, I've seen it on Facebook and things like that. And I didn't know about Octopath 2 though.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler 2. That was like in the middle of like the multi like
They were just like announcement.
Square Enix has thrown a lot of games towards the Switch. Like a lot of games. It's almost like, let me say, Switch for this generation, outside of like the big Final Fantasies. I think this is the RPG.
It's the RPG machine that the PSP was back in the day.
Back when PlayStation got Final Fantasy VII, that had been Sony's
and also the portable had a shit ton.
Yeah, that is very
as
true.
well. Like the remakes of both Tactics War of the Lions, Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, and Tactics Ogre Ties That Bind are some of the best tactical remasters. Or also tactical games.
Oh, Ethan, what did Capcom tell us? Capcom told us something big.
Capcom?
Yeah. Resident Evil 8 is coming to Switch.
Oh.
Resident Evil 8 along with 2
the remakes of 2 and 3.
Yes.
Oh.
Now they're coming as cloud titles, so it's very similar to how they got Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Switch as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to need it requires an internet connection. So there's something to kind of realize there. But the notion that I can take Resident Evil 8 on the go so long as I've got my
as long as you have internet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That kind of gets me good.
One other thing they announced was a new Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Engage.
I think they led off with that. Yeah.
They led off the entire presentation with that.
The hero is about as anime as it gets.
Yeah. It looks like the Switch personified.
Yes. I didn't even. Good job, Ethan. Good job. I apologize for interrupting.
It's like pouting hair, half of it red, half of it blue.
Oh.
No. And then his eyes behind it are the different colors. So like his blue hair is over a red eye, and his red hair is over.
Oh,
a blue
nice.
eye.
Wow.
And it's like, this is anime as fuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like that series has gotten more and more anime as it's gone.
I would argue it's always been anime. Like, first of all, let's stress this. This was a series that was Japanese only for forever and a day.
That's why I never played any of them.
Yeah.
Like, we never, like, if we had ever gotten the early ones, we would have gotten tactical RPGs well before we got them. Like, Ogre Battle would not have been our first.
I want to say that the first time I ever heard of a Fire Emblem character was from fucking Smash Bros.
I think that's where most people are. They're like, who is this dude with just a sword?
It was the combination of Smash Brothers and the success of Advance Wars.
Right.
On the Game Boy Advance.
That was
those
Game Boy
two
Advance.
linking together can bring them over. Because I will say, when they talk about, Japanese games are too hard for Americans, not really, but I will make the exception for Fire Emblem.
Right.
Like in a game where your characters have permadeath, like you don't get them
That was
back.
one of those early games with permadeath. Like that was the first. That was one of the probably not the first game, but that was up there with like early games of.
I don't know.
This has permadeath.
I don't know if they still have it on the shop, but the original Fire Emblem for the NES is available for the Switch, or was available for the. But they made a couple tweaks. Like you have basically save state where you go into this battle and you may not permanently lose this guy now. So they've did a little just kind of tinkering with the stuff. But yeah, very much.
I have to say, for a series as big as Fire Emblem, there's only been like one game that I actually enjoyed playing, and that was the Conquest and Birthright games for the 3DS. I tried Three Houses. It just wasn't enjoyable in a way. Like,
I like the story of Fire Emblem, and depending on the game, I actually like. But when I think of tactical RPGs, I think of Ogre Battle, and of course Final Fantasy Tactics.
Right.
Those are the two that
I think of.
Just completely stand out.
Yeah.
The stories of those games I really love, because it's a very like medieval blended with the Victorian era as far as how the stories play out, and I like those.
And high fantasy.
So,
yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they do with this new game, to see whether or not they've made adjustments to previous games, or they learned from previous mistakes. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just really happy about the whole like retro JRPG movement that's been happening on the Switch in the past couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Well, we talked about Live Alive last episode. I mean, you have all of these, like Octopath and Octopath 2, and you have Triangle Strategy. I like that people finally started like realizing that some people want to play these games.
Yeah.
No.
You know,
I don't think we have the pixel remasters yet for the Final Fantasy series because I've got those on Steam,
right?
and I played through 1 and I started 2, and I understand why people say that's the black sheep of the family because there's not a lot you can do to fix that. And to be fair,
2 is so frustrating.
Final Fantasy 2 was made, I think, a year after Final Fantasy 1, so it's the same. The original had the same sprite work, but also in order to advance the story, they include keywords. And so when you talk to someone the first time and they have a keyword that you haven't used before, it goes into your lexicon. And then when you're talking with other people, you can then bring up and like put that word to them. But it's kind of, it almost harkens back to MUDs. Like it's like, like you are standing in a room. There's a door to the north and like go north. Yeah. And you have to have keywords work it out. But if you use a keyword in the wrong place, I don't quite understand. So yeah, and it's the same thing because if you give them a keyword they don't know, it's just a bunch of question marks over
Ethan
there.
has no idea what you're talking about.
The experience system
Text-based
is really
video
weird
games.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, text-based
Yes.
video games.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, before we all had eyes, we had text-based games. Don't ask how we read it without our eyes, but it was the way it was.
Yeah.
I would like to add a postscript onto what you've been doing this week. So on the same day, there was a state of play from Sony. The only thing I really focused on that one was the opening announcement, which was, get ready for the next battle, Tekken 8.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw
Really?
that was.
Tekken
Okay.
8.
I didn't even know
Everybody's been doing a lot of announcements lately, video game wise.
I'm going to say right now, I haven't had a desire to get a next-gen console yet. A lot of it has to do with the fact of availability.
Right,
Put it
yeah.
straight out there. But even then, when they were as they're coming available, I'm still not jazzed for it.
well, there's
Yeah.
only so many. There's only so many like PS5 exclusives that are not available for the PS4.
But I can get down on some Tekken 8.
Like one
Like I might get the PS5 for Tekken 8.
like one of the things that I've like had to fight myself over is, yes, I would like a PS5, but the only thing I'm actually excited to play is God of War Ragnarok, which is coming out soon.
They also did some stuff on
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok.
But like,
I'm trying not to look too much into that, but I am super interested in that game.
but
Yeah.
like what Jody or Brady was saying, I cannot remember which one. Those games are also coming out for the PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So-
There's only so many PS5 exclusives.
Yeah, I
like
think
right now.
For me, it's going to be like it took me a very long time to buy a PlayStation 4
Yeah,
because they finally. It was even longer than that. Like God of War came out, and it was even longer after that when I was finally like, okay, I want to play this game. I want to play this other game. There was like 2 or 3 games finally where I was just like, now I feel like I have to get this.
for me, my decision was like my Xbox 360 died,
Yeah.
and the system PS4 had been out for like I think 2 years, and so there was already a backlog of games out that I wanted to play
Yeah.
on the system, and some of those were already budgeted, and so that's what got me
that
into
was another
it.
thing with me. Like something weird happened with my PlayStation 3. It's not dead, but like it with the output, it's really weird, and I haven't had the wherewithal to really sit down and figure it out, or I've gotten annoyed and quit. So I was like, well, let me get a PlayStation 4. Like, and that's how I'm probably going to end up getting a PlayStation 5 eventually. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm glad you reminded. I'm gonna go back to the. I'm gonna go back to the Nintendo Direct. They announced Pilot Wings 64 is coming to the N64 Virtual Console.
Oh, nice.
And also GoldenEye 007.
Oh yeah, I did see
nice.
that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Hopefully,
lot,
it
a lot
won't
of
be
new-
like the fucked up like
That
Wii
might-
remastered
that might
version of the
that
game.
might push me to getting the
expansion.
to the expansion. Like, if I do get one, if I get a PlayStation 5 and I'm getting Tekken 8, then I have to get the online for that. So I'll probably lean towards that if I do that. But if not, like I've held my Nintendo account, which was like $20 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, and every so often they have some sort of multiplayer online role-playing game, and I can play that, so that's okay.
Well, I'll say this real quick. Also, for their PlayStation just did an update to their service, and so the base service is still $60 a year. If you want to upgrade that to play PS4 game streaming, and you can also download them if you have shitty internet or whatever, that's $100 a year.
That's the integration with PlayStation Now that they've done, right?
Well, yeah.
Didn't they get rid of PlayStation Now?
They got rid of PlayStation Now, and what they basically have is they have 3 tiers. They have a tier that's just like your base tier. It's still $5 a month if you do it yearly. You still get 3 games free a month with it, and and able to play online and things like that. With the upgrade, you get to play all the PS4 games that were available on PS Now, along with the new ones that they're adding. And the funny thing is, if you want to pay an additional $10 or $15 a month, not month but year. So if you want to,
I was about to say because that's
yeah.
That's 120 and 180.
Well, I think it's like 100. I think it's like 115 or something like that, like for the year, or 120. You get access to the retro titles. I don't. You would think they would have done that the other way around, because I'm not going to pay an extra $20 a year to play PS3 games that are not really, retroly,
Do they have access to Bushido Blade and Bushido Blade 2?
No, they haven't had
That's
access
why
to
you
that.
haven't done that yet.
Well,
in my brain, that's
I'm going
why
to tell
it's
you
like,
right, the PS Now had like one fucking PS1 game on it, and had like maybe 10 PS2 games on it. So no, I don't give a fuck about their retro availabilities that they have.
Were any
on
of
there.
those games Bushido Blade or Bushido Blade 2?
No, they weren't.
Well, then that's why you didn't get. If the only PS1 game was Bushido Blade, you'd be like, well, it's worth the money.
Yeah.
The PS2 games were like fucking Star Wars Bounty Hunter and like really shitty JRPGs that nobody played. So
Remember how we were like
The funny thing is,
like,
there's
the old
probably some on there
JRPGs?
that I would have played, but
maybe.
But
I
like,
think the only good one was Radius Stories.
I haven't bought PlayStation Plus in a very long time. I've kind of thought about it to play Soul Calibur 6 online, but probably what would happen is I would get my ass waxed a couple of times and then be like, I don't feel like playing this anymore online.
To me, it's worth it just because, like, every other month you get like a really good free game, right?
But see, the thing that I had been seeing is like, they used to, when I first did it, like a long time ago, when I had my PlayStation 3, they would give you really good games. But nowadays, like they keep saying these are the games for this month, and they look like, and I'm like, I don't want to play this.
It's not every month, but I will say, like last month, it was Tony Hawk 1 and 2 and a couple other things, and I didn't have that game already, and it's still $60 because it just came out like earlier this year or like late last year.
Yeah, that's one when I bought when it first came out, so that wasn't even interesting.
Right, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Ethan, thanks for what you've been doing. You gave us about 20 minutes of content. That's
It's called Nintendo Direct and PlayStation Now or whatever.
all the things.
yeah. And then I think Ubisoft announced some stuff, but I don't give a shit about Ubisoft. Fuck them, they're a shitty company.
They are.
Jody, what have you been doing?
I've been doing multiple things as per usual. I'll talk about the movie I watched first. I watched Elvis.
Okay.
Some portray me as the villain. That accent doesn't go away, and it's pretty prevalent. It's Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker. I liked it. I liked the cinematography. I don't want to go into spoilers because Brady hasn't seen it. I don't think Ethan's seen it yet, and some of the listeners probably haven't.
Yeah, don't tell me what happens at the end.
There's a lot of shit that's in that movie that I haven't seen in any other Elvis films. When did they put the drug use in? So yeah, there was a lot of things they touched on that they haven't done in any other rendition of it. Like they really leaned into his background of the R&B side of the stuff and like who he hung out with and things like that, and during all the really pivotal points in history with segregation and all that shit. Yeah, that they really leaned into that hard before they got to sad Las Vegas Elvis at some point. But there's only one thing, and this is more of a modern thing that seems to happen on retelling of older stories. It doesn't happen often. It happens like twice. They use some sort of like hip hop remix of something like during a transitional time where he's just walking down the street and they're just playing like a random hip hop song, and I'm like, guys, I understand, but you don't need it. It takes me out.
That's kind of Baz
film.
Luhrmann's thing.
Yeah.
Ever since The Great Gatsby, he did that. It made sense in The Great Gatsby because there is like parallels of that. Was in like 1920s, 1930s, like the Whelp and the Opulence,
the dapper culture.
juxtaposing with the with like hip hop culture and things like that. It's weirder in an Elvis movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me that he did that. Yeah, that's a movie that I wanted to watch. That I've wanted to watch, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's a long movie, but man, it feels like up until about the halfway point, it just keep going and going and going. And
I've heard the guy who plays Elvis does like a
he does a great job.
I was about to say Aaron Budley. Yeah,
and there's only one, like, if I could have a minor critique, it would be the first like 30, 45 minutes. There's so many like quick edit cuts of certain things that are happening, and I started getting like nauseous.
That's 100% Baz Luhrmann.
It is.
He likes those quick
Let
cuts
me ask
like
this
that.
right now. Do you believe this film, director-wise, Baz Luhrmann, do you think it's Oscar worthy? Do you think
Yeah. I would even with Tom Hanks's weird accent, it's still, because it conveys a really good story. The problem when you have somebody as iconic as Elvis, that they've done like 20,000 Elvis movies. Early on in the early days, after he passed, they did like made for TV shit and whatever. They didn't put any money behind it. And there's been a couple of okay renditions of it. This is like probably the best one I've seen as portrayal and everything like that. There's a reason why there's only been one movie about Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire, and that's because they perfected it with that one film. They don't really need to go into any more detail.
That was Dennis Quaid?
It was Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Elvis is good. It's decent. Definitely watch it. Just because the acting in it's fucking spectacular. So and there is one, like, as if I could say a spoiler, there is a lot more to the special he did in the leather suit than I knew about.
Okay.
So it's very, very intriguing. So the other two things I've been doing is working on an episode for Fearology. That's not a really big deal. I'm working on a musical project that I'm almost done with.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's by an alias I call the Digital Devil, and the name of the project is 7 Friendly Sins.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to be putting it up on like a free site like SoundCloud or something like that whenever I'm finished with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When it is done, you've got it up. Would you mind having one track from that we can put here as kind of like a super outro?
That's
so that
fine.
people can kind of figure out
That's fine.
what they like about it.
Yeah, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the future, get ready for that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brace your butt cheeks. It is a dark comedy.
Okay.
Is what the theme is. It's a dark comedy. And I'm saying that because if anybody that I know tried to associate themselves to any of these songs, they would want to punch me in the face. So it's based off of no one in reality, and it's all fictitious people involved. So
Okay.
Any resemblance to anyone living or dead is purely just Jody fucking actually taking the shit out of somebody, but not really.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the digital devil, 7 Friendly Sins.
Yeah. If you think the song's about you, don't ask me. Probably the best advice I can give you.
Fair enough.
Okay.
That's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Okay. Cool.
Brady, what have you been doing?
He said that really fucking fast.
Yeah. But we knew what he said.
Yeah. That's because I was expecting it from somebody eventually, or this was going to get really awkward.
Yeah. I'll cut out all of the dead time.
I was giving you more to do.
We were sitting here for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4 whole minutes.
Pure fucking silence.
Yep.
Haven't been doing a whole lot. This past Friday, the 5th season of Cobra Kai dropped, so I binged that. It's pretty solid. I think it's probably the weakest season. Things feel a little bit cheesy. The action feels a little bit stilted a little bit, but I think that's because most of the fights are done by the older people instead of the younger people.
Yeah, because the younger people almost died in the fight for like last season or the season before that.
No, that was the second.
That was
season two.
That was
the season two finale.
Season two finale, or like
fight.
someone
Yeah.
almost died.
The entire school fights,
fighting,
but yeah, they don't really have a big fight like that. The younger kids, it's mostly like the older kids, the older people fighting from the older movies. It's like I said, it's solid. I didn't like it as much as the other seasons, but it's still pretty good.
What you're telling me is that they didn't fucking end anything. It's
no.
not over.
Because
I don't know where they go.
Jesus Christ!
Well,
I thought this was going to be the last season.
I lied. I know where they go because like an episode before the end, they teased this like international tournament, and then they don't do that tournament in this season.
Let it end. I like the show, but let it end.
Oh my God. They're going to do best of the best.
6 seasons
for
is
season 6.
might not be too much.
I thought 5 was going to be it, though. I mean, it just felt like it was just like a natural progression to be over.
The question
at 5.
I want to ask: do you that this whole season? Do you think this is a way of settling old debts, finishing the story for the older folk, and letting the younger actors have the final season? Not say completely for themselves,
or was it padded out for like filler reasons?
It wasn't. It didn't feel padded out. It didn't feel padded out. I don't. I don't know who's going to be the main bad guy anymore because like they've kind of settled that.
Well,
I don't think that's really a spoiler because by
at the end of last season, what's his name got arrested.
They're gonna figure out some way to beat the bad guy eventually.
Like it's season 6, Cobra Kai, Best of the Best. It's going to be the South Korean team. If you've ever seen the movie Best of the Best,
I think that they're probably it's gonna be something about that tournament that they teased. But I really don't know. And they're probably gonna create, I don't know. I'll be honest. Like, I remember kind of watching the original Karate Kid when I was young. Like it came out like the year I was born, I think, or around that. Maybe a couple of years. What year was it? I don't
84.
remember. 84.
Yeah,
Okay, it was a couple of years before I was born. My brother was really big into it. I remember he had like a Karate Kid poster. I remember watching it a little bit, and I never watched it again. But it just kind of matriculated into my brain, you know, all the stuff from the first. And I never watched any of the other.
You didn't miss anything.
And now we're getting into
I would argue 2 is better than 1, but that's just my
opinion. Two's good. But you don't have to see any of the other ones.
So is 2 the one where he joins Cobra Kai?
No, he goes
that's
to Japan.
3. Okay, 2 is Japan. 3
is literally a retelling.
So
of
the bad,
one.
so the bad, so the bad guy in season in Karate Kid 3 is the main bad guy in this season.
Right.
The guy with the ponytail.
So the guy with the ponytail.
The guy with the ponytail. Okay.
Terry Silver.
Yeah, I really don't like. I don't know like what the main conflict because they kind of. If they ended this season, it would be okay because they do kind of end in a good place. It's not going to hurt to because like all of like the major conflicts between people are kind of pretty much resolved,
right?
So I don't know where they go except for just looking. If they do another season, it's probably going to be like superfluous. I don't know, but whatever. It's fine.
Right.
Watch it. It's still a good show. I enjoyed it. There's still some solid jokes. It seems like it's less focused than it used to be, though. I guess, but they have a whole lot of
that many people.
They also
have way more. Like it's not just Johnny doing things. And then
I think that show was lightning in a bottle. I think they did not plan for it to be as successful as it was after the first season.
No, because it was a YouTube show.
YouTube original.
It was a YouTube original.
And
they
then
didn't think
Netflix
that was going anywhere.
Here's where I'll say I think they had a notion that this might get a second season because there's so many cliffhanger points of season 1 that they run off of.
Yeah.
I do believe that let's end this and high as a note as we can. Let's make season 6 very good and just let it go.
Yeah, I think if it goes longer than season 6, then it's definitely going to be like, okay, come on, guys.
Yeah,
like because they're going to have to create some. There's going to be some kind of artificial thing, but whatever. It was fine. Watch it. It's still good. It's just not as good as the previous 4 seasons, I thought. So yeah. Another thing, I've been making it through the Sandman Book of Dreams. That's still pretty good. There's a really good story in there. My favorite one so far is a story that takes place during the Serial Convention. with the collectors, and it's very scary and very disturbing. Well, not scary, but it is disturbing.
Right.
It was very effective, but it's pretty good. And I picked up a little novella at Barnes and Nobles when I was there earlier this week, kind of on a whim because it was on sale for like $5. Called Nothing But Blackened Teeth.
Who's the author?
I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a story about there's this like haunted mansion or something, and these like college friends are staying there to kind of party, and they've heard it's haunted or whatever, and like shit gets real. The cover is like really disturbing. It sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Did you find some information on it, Ethan?
I'll get back to you.
Okay. It seems
He's
like
looking at the Karate Kid.
No, it's loading.
Oh, okay.
My internet's shit. Okay.
Jesus
No, it's
Christ.
Gaucher.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be very interesting. As soon as I get done with this book, I'm going to.
I'm opening up a quick new segment called "Things We Like About Gaucher."
Nothing. Nothing.
Jesus.
The only thing Gaucher has is Cornerstone and Aztec. That's it.
And Friends.
And Friends and Magnolia Gaming.
Yeah,
and Magnolia Gaming.
I was about to say there's
Azteca's Mexican restaurant has some of the best carne asada I've ever eaten. There's the section. That's all I wanted to do.
There's also Cornerstone, Ethan.
Yeah,
I said
he literally
Cornerstone.
mentioned
Did he?
Cornerstone.
Cornerstone.
Okay.
That was the first thing he said.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. But put that down on the
Sandra
bingo.
Carr.
Sandra who?
Cassandra Carr.
Cassandra Carr. Okay.
K-H-A-W.
And I think it's like some Japanese temple or something like that. I can't, but like it's supposed to be very disturbing, and I'm looking forward to it because spooky season is upon us. So as soon as I get done with that, I'm gonna try that. And then if it's really really good, it might be something that I pass the book around so we can all.
I'll be down.
That might be something that we can talk about later.
That
There you
seems
go.
like a
Doesn't
good
necessarily
idea.
have to be a thing, but if it's
see.
that good.
It's 82 pages.
That's not
It's
bad.
a novella, so
The copy I had was like 124, but still it's less than 200 pages, so
Yeah.
it should be a pretty
my
quick
thinking
read.
is there a different printing so that the type and format font might
It's
be
possible.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that. I just remember kind of flipping through it really quick because it was very thin and being
Right.
like, oh, it's 124 pages, and then I saw
Gotcha.
$5, and I was like, oh, let me try this out.
right.
And it even had somebody had written because in Barnes and Nobles they have a place. Like sometimes they put little cards down to like where people who work there gave a review.
Yeah,
or
they're like, I
something.
read this and
like,
I
hey,
loved
this
it.
was good. Yeah,
I have
and-
a quick summary from Goodreads.com if the others would like to know what it's about.
Goodreads.com.
Yeah, you that will probably be a better summary than what I gave because I just picked it up on a whim and didn't look too much into it.
A Heian-era mansion stands abandoned, its foundations resting on the bones of a bride, and its walls packed with the remains of the girl sacrificed to keep her company.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds pretty rad.
and then some guys come. Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's at least the first part of what's on the back of the book. So
There you go.
Gotcha.
All right.
I just was very bad at summarizing it. But that's what I've been doing.
I forgot there was one thing I did that wasn't very much, but I was watching YouTube and a random trailer pops up, and I usually skip those as soon as there's an option for it. But I was intrigued because the visual effects looked really cool, and I kept watching it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This looks very interesting. And then I see Willow. There's a Willow
Yeah.
TV show coming to Disney Plus.
Yes,
In like a couple of months.
Disney and all these other streaming services are going to dig up all of the corpses of your childhood past.
The Disney Expo, that was also this
Yes.
week.
Yeah, D23.
There's going to be an Inside Out 2. There's going to be like 3 or 4 more Pixar movies. I guess they've got it now. You have to do a sequel to one of these popular properties, and then we let you do an original one of stuff that you actually care about.
There's going to be
So
a
when
Mufasa
are we
movie.
getting Soul 2?
That will probably eventually. Well,
They returned them from the dead.
that one didn't make a whole lot of money, so probably not.
the new Pixar,
Nobody cares about Soul toys, so
When are we going to get Chronicles of Narnia 2?
they actually did 3 of those.
No, but none of them are named Chronicles of
That is
Narnia
fair.
2.
That's very
That's
true.
very
Pixar's
important.
actually doing a show
I saw that.
They're going to be doing a show.
I think it's like a baseball show.
There's like several other things that I kind of half paid attention to, so I'm not the best person to necessarily talk about it, but they did have Disney Expo.
One movie that a lot of people are excited for is that Elementals movie.
Yeah, that I was trying to think of what the name of that one was, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, that's
and of course the live action Little Mermaid.
Yeah. We were just talking about that trailer. I forgot that it came from
D23,
Disney, from
yeah.
D23. So
Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts, yeah.
movie.
Oh yeah. They a lot of Marvel stuff.
My buddy Jeff Britt, if I remember, really loved the Thunderbolts comic. And
Thunderbolts is a good comic.
Yeah.
That's a really good comic. It might be, I don't know.
They also played a clip for Secret Invasion.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever. I think got an extra trailer, but I've already seen. I try to watch one trailer from a movie
Same.
and not watch any others, but sometimes it's forced upon me.
Yeah,
like it
if
was
you're in a theater.
like it was with Nope. Yeah, I saw the first trailer and I was like, "This is all I need to see." And then I go watch another movie and they show me
There
the
it is.
second one that tells you
Way too
not
much.
all. It tells you more than I want to know.
Right.
It doesn't tell you so much that you can't enjoy the movie. I
Right.
don't think. But
I'm gonna call out Brady. He's seen more of Top Gun Maverick trailer than the actual Top Gun Maverick.
I have heard so many good things. It's made all the money. I have heard that it
was
great.
very good.
I will not watch it on principle because I had to watch that trailer every single time I went to the movie.
Even 2 weeks after the film fucking came out, they kept showing the trailer.
Jesus. Luckily, I didn't catch that, but it's man, I was so tired of that.
I get
fucking trailer.
there's a lot.
I guess it was.
Oh, the Disney Plus is coming out with a sequel to Disenchanted.
Yeah, that wasn't it because
right. So is the Enchanted movie, but it's a sequel called Disenchanted? Is that what you're talking?
Yeah, it's got Amy Adams in
Amy
it
Adams.
again.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude from fucking that hospital show on ABC.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Oh yeah,
Is he in that as well?
is he the? I thought it was.
He
Was
the
it Marston?
I thought he was the prince. No, Marston was.
Marston
the
was the other. Was
the
prince, and he was the other guy.
Dude,
Okay,
was the regular dude from the real
I don't even think I've ever watched that movie. I've
I
just
haven't
seen
seen
enough
it.
scenes of it that
No.
I know the gist of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
She was criminally underused as Lois Lane.
Have either of you watched the rest of the Lord of the Rings TV show?
No,
No.
Again,
Yeah.
going last week when I said I had watched one and you said there's two. It's like I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third one dropped Friday.
Again, visually,
Right.
very.
Yeah.
stunning.
I did notice something though, Jay. I looked at because after the video stopped, it popped up the bottom area where it shows all the actors, and I went through all the actors, and most of the youngish actors have been in 1 to 2 other things, if that. They're all new actors, almost all.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
mind
not
Probably how they
necessarily-
could afford the show, I would imagine.
Who plays? Do you remember the name of the woman who plays Galadriel?
She's like Swedish or something. It's one of those really there's a lot of consonants in her name. So I couldn't tell you.
Because I might.
Her name is Tixchixixavix. But I can't
That's
think of any more.
close.
I can't think of any more consonants to just throw together. There you go.
The last thing that they ended with the Disney aspects of D23 was the new movie Wish, which is supposed to be like a
people were apparently
it's supposed to be
were
like
happy about that.
a celebration of the 100th anniversary of Disney or something like
okay.
that.
I thought it was going to be a celebration of cheap Chinese goods from Wish.com.
It could be that.
There's a lot of things there's a lot of movies coming out that are about to come out that are very aren't movies great.
Yeah.
To varying degrees.
But from what
Morfydd Clark. She's in Saint Maud. She's
That's the other thing,
She's the
yeah.
star of Saint Maud.
Okay.
That's okay. Damn. I didn't want to watch this, but I might still want to watch it because she's really fucking good in Saint Maud. Watch Saint Maud. That's fucking great.
There you go.
That is-
What's that on?
I want to say it's on Amazon. If you remind me, I can bring my Blu-ray copy here.
Is it a TV series or a movie?
It's a movie. It's really fucking good. Oh yeah. Here's my pretentious thing for the week.
There you go. It's time for Brady's Hipster Corner.
Yeah, Jean-Luc Godard died yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
for those who,
And hold on. For someone who heard the first two and maybe the end of the third word, we want to stress Jean-Luc Godard, not Jean-Luc,
Not Picard.
Picard.
yeah.
Patrick Stewart is still alive.
Yes. Yeah.
Put your phasers down.
Yeah, he was kind of the guy who popularized the French New Wave.
Oh, Godard.
Yeah. Jean-Luc Godard. Yeah.
Well, I just knew him from his last name.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people just say Godard when they're talking about him.
No, but again, this is Brady's hipster corner.
Yeah.
We're gonna give full names.
Just saying Godard is fucking hipster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna have a nice pour over coffee.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He did a lot of movies that your favorite directors were influenced by. Do you like Spielberg? One of the reasons Spielberg got into movies was because of movies of the French.
Oh
New
God, he
Wave.
did The Weekend. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Avoid that one. Avoid The Weekend.
I like how you look directly at Ethan, like Ethan was gonna go watch one of these things.
I have seen at least 2 or 3 of his films.
Yeah. Name some more of them.
Let's see.
Off the top of my head.
Well, these are like French, so I don't want to. Let's see. Hold on. Breathless. He did a film called Breathless, which I have not seen. And then these French films that I'm not going to try to pronounce because they're French.
Yeah. Masculine, Feminine, Vivre sa vie, Contempt, Every Man for Himself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shit that's in the Criterion Collection. I'm certain most of his films are on there.
The Weekend film is the most pretentious movie besides fucking what was it? Curtains? Not Curtains. The other fucking movie where it's just like one shot for like 50 minutes of like a wall. The Weekend is like just nothing but like a pan shot of like people.
Yeah, that's
like
shit
on a
that they
road
did sometimes.
for like
Shit
2 hours.
Shit like that is now I understand why the movie Wavelength was made.
That's it. That's the movie I was thinking about. Wavelength.
Yeah, that
Was that Godard?
Weird.
That couldn't
No.
have been Godard.
I'm just saying expressionist bullshit.
Okay, yeah.
but yeah,
Don't put even expressionist on that.
he
There was a dead body in there.
There was no expression at
There
all.
was a dead body in there.
so he was a very influential director. Most of your favorite directors were influenced by him,
Right.
If you're of our age, not Ethan's, but our age,
Right.
Everybody else's.
Not mine. Not mine. Everyone.
I don't know, Ethan. I'm certain you like Spielberg and shit like that. The fuck.
AI is his favorite movie.
Moving. Jesus Christ.
Shut your fucking mouth. I hate that fucking movie so bad.
Steven Spielberg has a movie coming out called The Fablemans, which is kind of
okay.
about his life.
Oh, okay.
And also like a love of cinema and things like that.
Is there a scene where him and George Lucas are eating a cheeseburger? That would
Probably.
be fucking fantastic.
From what I can see, it's just him as a kid more than like his whole life.
All right.
But yeah, he's very influential. So go look up some Godard movies and maybe watch one. The little bit of French New Wave. I don't think I've ever watched one of his films, but the French New Wave stuff that I have watched and that I am familiar with, they're interesting.
They are.
I've
If nothing
determined-
else.
I have determined in this last 13 minutes that we did way more than we thought we did this week.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we talked a lot more about
Well,
stuff we haven't done.
Yeah, we talked more about just shit that happened this week than
Yeah.
than what happened to us.
Yeah.
no, the Nintendo Directs happened to people.
That
Like,
that is
that's-
true.
that's
That
true.
is true.
Oh,
State of play. That's what PlayStation calls their stuff.
Speaking of Criterion Collection, Wall-E is going to be in the Criterion Collection.
I'm okay with that.
Yes, a lot of people
Wall-E
are
is
bitching and
exceptional.
moaning. If you are, calm down. It's
Criterion
just,
should be
it's a
about-
collection of movies.
Criterion should be about creators at the height of their ability creating fantastic worlds with characters and things that you can really believe in.
Now-
I believe in that little robot in the future.
Yes,
I
that-
agree.
that-
Yeah, that's
if
100%.
you if you have that mindset, you probably were in a coma from like 2005 to now, because when Criterion started, it was just like art house films that had never been released on anything. Like, you know, like they had like Houseu and fucking like
Yeah.
Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai and shit like that. And now it's whatever qualifies. It's
Yeah.
fine.
It can be very pretentious, but like
I'll put the caveat
but like
on
it
that.
is a
qualifies.
Yeah.
Wall-E qualifies.
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Wall-E is a cinematic movie. Like
Right.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's a movie that was made for children. Adults can enjoy it.
It tells a very good story.
yes.
Without a whole lot of talking.
Yeah, and it has a lot. there's a lot to unpack in that movie. You can watch it as a kid, but you can also enjoy it.
There's a lot of,
I'm more interested. Like, I was just surprised. Coming from me, it was more of a surprise that Disney allowed that to. This is the first Disney movie that's ever been in the Criterion Collection.
That might be something that they aim for in the future and stop when they stop making physical media.
Yeah,
well, not altogether, but
this can open up a lot of doors, not just with Disney, but like they own Miramax, they own Fox. There's a lot of things that aren't in the Criterion Collection that could be in the Criterion Collection. The Criterion Collection is cool because like they load it up with like special features and things like that. There's a lot to get out of the. They're expensive, which is why you only buy them on the 50% off sale. But this opens up a lot of things, I think, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
With you saying that this is like the first time Disney's like opening up with their products being shared with other entities, at D23, the expo, they announced a new Disney Plus show, Iwaju, which is Disney doing a collaboration with a Pan-African comic book company, Kugali.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting with like this super secretive company starting to like open their doors a little bit.
Well, I mean, as far as like them creating something new, they're always outsourcing to find.
That said, I would say instead of secretive, I would call possessive.
Yeah, back in the day they were less possessive, and then they became, and then once they got super big, they got like really possessive.
Because there was a minute there where Disney was in bad shape financially, like real bad shape, like more than once.
It just the Black Hole and the Black Cauldron almost bankrupted them.
Yeah.
Those are two movies.
That and like corporate structures that were also not doing very well.
Black Hole was their attempt to mimic Star Wars, and it's actually not a bad film.
It's not terrible.
It's a weird film.
It's really strange. There's a lot of really like strange like cast choices because Anthony Perkins is in that. And also like the
Ernest Borgnine plays a coward.
Yeah. Slim Pickens plays a robot. It's great.
Yeah.
First time I think any robot ever had a country accent. It's pretty sweet. But the ending is so fucking weird. So yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like I've been glancing. Like,
all right, guys, we probably need to move on.
The host finally figured out that we're almost an hour in.
So that's what we've been doing.
We hope you've enjoyed what we've been doing, and apparently what the world has been doing.
Yeah, this is just a
the world. Also, God bless and good night, Queen. We appreciate you.
Welcome to the What We've Been Doing podcast.
That also happened this week.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Jay, do we have any feedback?
We have zero feedback this week, which thank God because we've already spent a lot of time.
But that is a good thing.
But if you do have feedback for us, travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com. Again, travelers, 1L, on the omnibus at gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through our polls and questions on each episode of Travelers on the Omnibus if you're on Spotify, and you can message us directly if you are on Spotify.
I was trying to do a nice little thing like that.
Yeah.
But then you kind of cut
I'm
me
glad
off.
it only took. I'm glad it only took.
Man, I've got another hour and then I die.
Okay.
Like I have to tell everyone about my thoughts on Mandy, and then I die.
Oh, stepping on that too.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm like a mayfly.
So, probably one of the reasons that I'm hosting this is because having been the winner, having been the winner, I wasn't going to put it like that. I was going to try and be humble.
No, but I did win.
I won.
31 to
Omnibus
13 to 11.
Stepping over me again. Thank you very much.
I didn't even remember the score.
Jesus, are you like? I don't remember the score either. Like, it flew out of my brain.
It sometimes happens to me like that. Okay, so
he's got a vendetta.
Yeah, he's been like carving that.
He's
that
in full
into his arm or something.
You notice he hasn't been. You notice he hasn't been stung. I think he's made a deal with the wasp.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm probably gonna get attacked on the way out of
There
here.
you go.
Just don't look in your trunk.
So I had Jesus Christ. So I chose what to make us have this episode on, and I chose the movie Mandy. Mandy is a 2018 movie directed by Panos Cosmatos. Is the Greek filmmaker, if I'm not mistaken.
He better be with a name like that.
Another really pretentious thing when I wrote this down.
Surprise!
For
he's
my
Italian
notes.
Canadian.
Seriously?
Panos Cosmatos, born February 1st, 1974, is an Italian-Canadian film director and screenwriter. He is best known for Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy.
Huh.
Born in Rome, Italy.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I think I'm mixing him. I definitely am mixing him up with another guy who I know is Greek. Yorgos Lanthimos, but we're not talking about him. But so Mandy is a 2018 movie. Horror, maybe.
Yes.
Thriller,
Yes.
maybe. Psychological,
Yes.
maybe.
Action, yes.
Action.
Yes.
It's
Comedy, yes.
it's kind of hard to really put
Psychotic
this
comedy, but comedy.
into.
I think you can solidly put this in the horror genre.
Yeah,
Solidly put it in the horror genre.
I'm joking a little bit. It's a little tongue in cheek
Like,
with that, but
here's why I call this avant-garde horror. The movie starts with King Crimson playing.
Yes.
So okay, this is going to be avant-garde.
Yeah.
Then you hear President Ronald Reagan on the radio, and then you go,
Yeah,
okay,
that's the
horror.
first thing that you hear.
So this is nothing but horror. So yeah, there we go.
But it doesn't actually it begins with an epitaph. With the word red in black screen, red words. This epitaph: when I die, bury me deep, lay 2 speakers at my feet, wrap some headphones around my head, and rock and roll me when I'm dead. Which, according to some trivia that I looked up, is supposed to be the last words of Douglas Roberts, who was executed in 2005 on 4/20.
There we go. There we go.
For murder, kidnapping, and robbery. You just air horn murder, kidnapping, and robbery. And these were apparently his last words. It's not credited in the movie, but that was
Right.
it. So that's where we start off.
Yeah.
With some weird shit. Like
I knew when that paragraph popped up, I'm like, all right.
So I
Here we
know.
go.
So I had seen this before. Jay, you've seen it.
I had seen it. I actually the first time I watched it, it was on Amazon. It was on now Amazon Prime, and then they had pulled it off of it. To refresh myself with this, I watched it on Tubi. Shout out to Tubi. I love the app. It's actually way easier to search than almost any other video
wow.
set that
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had to
Might
deal
have to
with.
check
So
out
I'm
Tubi then.
very happy about that. There are ads, and I did have to go back and watch this a second time after the Tubi because I wanted to. I'm going to get more into it later. I wanted to see where did this having breaks in it and this being a one cohesive tell-through story, did that impact how greatly did that impact the viewing experience? So, but I'll get into that a little bit later.
I will say, I had to watch this movie 4 times.
Did you have to watch?
Had to, or
did you
wanted
have
to watch it 4
or
times?
did you have to watch it once and then the other 3 were for pleasure?
No, I had to watch this 4 times.
Is that why
That
your glasses
first-
off for right now? Because you don't want to look at anything?
No, my glasses off because these headphones are shit.
No.
That is true.
I could not watch the beginning 45 minutes of the movie.
Oh.
I just could not. Like,
Okay.
So during this entire period, for the majority, there's this like synth wave background music going off, and
The sound the score, I guess, would be some of these are songs, but some of these are
Like
part of the score.
vaporwave, yeah.
It is oppressive, which is a good word for the entire movie. It is oppressive.
The music for the movie was done by Johan Johansson.
Yes.
Because his parents were lazy, and he died after the
Right after
production of the film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right
And
after.
so the movie is dedicated.
Yes,
to
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
I will say that music gets me into the mood of this because
Yeah.
you're going to hear the word surreal a lot in this.
It is
in
an
this
incredibly
talk.
surreal
Let's
movie.
let's let Brady take us through the beginning steps, Ethan, and then you could jump in with
Yeah.
your 40 because 45 minutes is a lot of things that
Yeah.
you had to.
Well, before we do that,
Yeah.
Jody, had you watched the
This
movie
was the
before?
first time I've seen it.
Oh wow, okay.
There's so many things on my backlog. So by us having to do something for the podcast, it actually pushes me to do shit that I need to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah. And
And I only watched it one time.
I will say this is I want to say this is maybe the second time I've watched this. I can't remember. But I had this on Blu-ray. So I watched this.
The second time I watched this, I paid Google $3 to rent it.
Yeah.
So
I watched this, in with no breaks. Well,
Same.
besides like
Yeah.
pee breaks and stuff like
Bathroom,
that.
yeah.
With the and like I decided this time to watch it with like all my lights off. I don't usually watch movies like that, but I was like, let me like see how this works.
I watched it
So.
with headphones because I don't have stereo surround, and that makes a whole big difference on
I can imagine.
the audio stuff that's happening in that movie. Not just the music, but the other squishy
I was
noises.
using my Raycon earbuds.
Hell yeah.
and that actually.
I'm sure that worked really well.
They did. Honestly.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because spoiler, I have no air conditioning in my house, so I have 2 box fans in my room in order to be at a reasonable temperature.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank God that the cold weather's starting to come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those had to go in, or I would have heard nothing.
Yeah, I had to because I get good sound from my TV, but I had to turn it up real loud, and then when my super loud air conditioner kicked on, I had to kick it up even higher, so I would go back and forth between that.
So I do want to say one thing before we start getting into the meat and potatoes of everything. If to bridge on to what I think Ethan's going to probably get into in a minute whenever we get there, is that if there was any example of build up, slow burn to get to where you're going, this movie's it, because there's literally nothing happens for the first 30 minutes ish.
Yeah.
Except for character development and other weird shit, but we're going to get into that step by step here.
Yeah. So we kind of get we get a little bit of Ethan's. How did you feel about the movie? Just a real quick.
Real quick. I enjoyed the whole film as an experience. I do think 2 hours was a little long for it. I think they could have cut out probably about 10 minutes maybe out of it at different points early on, and then I'll get into one of the other scenes that went on a little too long. They could have trimmed a minute there or whatever. But besides that, I liked it. I'll get to my final feelings on it when we get to it. But I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable experience, and we'll get into why and wherefore.
So that was my first thing about the Tubi experience, and the fact that when you're watching Tubi, it's like back in the olden days, like if you were watching, say, the Saturday night movie on CBS, where it's you've got about 10, 20 minutes worth of and then it breaks and you go to commercial, and it breaks and you go to commercial. I felt the length of this movie way more watching it with commercial breaks than I did when I was able to watch it full on. If you're able to sit and simmer in that bowl with that movie, I don't think you'll feel those 2 hours. But if you're constantly being pulled out of it, you are absolutely going to feel those 2 hours.
The good thing about Tubi is it's free and there's a shit ton of stuff on there. The bad thing about Tubi is that they had the ad breaks are not long; they're about a minute, but they happen every 10 to 15 minutes though.
Wow.
So that can really pull you out of something.
Well, again, go back to a 2 hour movie that's almost 8 commercial breaks.
Yeah,
Right,
and I can see
that has
how
on-
with a movie like this that is kind of an experience movie that can kind of step on that and constantly pull you out of it, and that can be an issue. So yeah, we'll just go. We're gonna go through the movie. We're gonna spoil the shit out of it. So
Yeah,
if you
we
haven't
are.
watched
Spoilers.
Pause this episode, go to Tubi, make sure you have 2 to 3 hours of spare time, and then come back to us.
pay $3 and watch the
Pay
movie.
$3.
It's
or
worth it.
watch it on Amazon Prime or Shudder or whatever.
Yeah, Shudder, something like that. Get
Yeah.
a free trial to Shudder and watch it, and then come back. So this is also it's directed by Panos Cosmatos. It is starring one Nicolas Cage.
I'd like to add a quick PS on that. One of the producers of this film is Elijah Wood.
I saw that. I was
Yes.
like, I don't remember seeing that. What the hell?
So Elijah, thank you for spending that Lord of the Rings money right.
I read Elijah was the one who
He told Nicolas Cage about the movie.
he told
about the
well,
screenplay.
Nicholas, he was going to be the cult. He was the director wanted
him to be
the
the cult leader.
The cult
But
leader.
He didn't want to play that.
and he was like, no, maybe I think I would like to play Red. And the guy was like, well, with the themes of this movie and the guy we'll talk about this more at the end, I think. But he I've read like 4 different themes that this guy talked about. He was like, no, I don't think that would work. And then Elijah Wood, something with him and Nicolas Cage, like they discussed it and then they talked about it later, and this was later on with the director, and they finally were like, yeah, this will
I watched another. I don't want to go too long on that, but I watched a the after watch party where Kevin Smith actually hosted with the director.
Oh, wow.
And Nick Cage and the guy who played the cult leader or whatever. And Nick Cage said, like, because him and Elijah had worked on a film, I don't remember right now what it was, but worked on a film like a year or so before. And that's how they got their connection, and they became really good friends. And then Elijah told him about the script, and then that's how the whole ball started rolling on it.
Yeah.
Linus Roach. That's who plays Jeremiah.
Oh, yeah.
Linus Roach, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So Nicolas Cage, and then the titular Mandy is played by Andrea Riseborough. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Andrea Riseborough, yeah.
Yeah. So we start out with Red is a logger. This takes place, I believe,
1983.
1983. Yeah. We learned that from a title card.
And Ronald Reagan on a car radio.
Right.
The title card is the Starlit Mountains.
The Shadow Mountains.
Shadow Mountains. Shadow Mountains. I'm sorry.
Which, by the way, I loved those cards.
I love
too,
the title cards
because they felt like chapter. Like chapter.
They
and
did.
verse.
They
Very
did.
good.
I love the title cards.
Did they disappear partway through the movie? I don't remember.
There was only two or three.
There's three titles. There's the Shadow Mountains, Children of the New Dawn, and Mandy. Those are the three titles.
Oh yeah, like the title card of the actual movie doesn't start until like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
I think an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
So Red is a logger, and he lives. They live in the woods. Him and Mandy live in the woods. They have what seems like a pretty nice relationship. Mandy looks very odd, as Andrea Riseborough in most of her movies that she's in looks very odd. Although I've seen pictures of her made up, and she looks very attractive.
Well, they also accentuate that a lot.
Right.
With let me say this: the cinematography in this movie is top notch.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
The use of light and shadow in this movie
And
is
color.
some of the and color. Yes.
Odd lights. There's always an odd light source. There's somewhere that some weird colored light is coming from somewhere that it should not be coming from, and it's always like throwing you off. Like, oh, what the hell is happening?
There was a review I saw of the movie, and the best quote that he could say about it is, take any random scene from the movie Mandy, and you slap it like a D&D wizard, and it's a 1970s rock cover album.
This is true.
Yeah.
Well, specifically, and I hate to, but I wanted. There's a transition at one point where she's in the house, and they go up, and it's not a real sky.
Yeah.
It's a painted sky.
They do that a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then they swap it again to another painted sky. Then when they come down, he's in the lake, and that lake is. It almost looks Technicolor.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
With how vibrant that color is.
So and it also there is a graininess though to the look of it. Like it looks almost like it was done in the 80s in a lot of parts.
They also, real quick, I wanted to mention this with lighting when we were talking about lighting. They used lighting for spatial reasons too. Like there's a scene when they were laying in bed together where there was like, when they weren't cuddling, there was a section where they were like separated, and there was like a light like in between them.
Yeah.
I want to say
they do very interesting things with light. Very interesting thing was light and sound and the score of the movie. But they live in the woods. They seem like they have a pretty good relationship. Like Mandy does these drawings.
I think she's like an artist and an author.
Yeah, she's like an
She reads a lot.
artist. She reads a lot. The book that she reads I read was a fake book. They didn't it didn't actually exist. So yeah, and you also see in the beginning when Red is coming back from the logging job, some guy offers him a drink and he says no.
No. There's a lot of subtle stuff going on.
Yeah. Which I think is one of the underlying themes with it. So from there, we see them hanging out, and they have a very nice relationship.
Let's talk about the bedroom story real quick.
Okay, yeah.
So like they're just like they're laying together, and she's recanting this story about her childhood. And this is going to get explicitly disgusting here in a second. And so she's with her friends, and her father shows up with a bag of birds. I can't remember what they were called.
Starlings.
Yeah, starlings.
Baby
Right.
starlings.
Baby sterling birds. he takes them out, and he has a hammer, and he's like
crowbar.
A crowbar.
a crowbar, and he's like, I can't remember the line she said, but it's like, I'm gonna show you how to how to kill these baby Sterlings, and she was probably like 10 or something like that or whatever. And
like her brothers, I think, are there.
Her brothers are there.
Brothers and her friends.
And so, she's going on with the story or whatever. And Nick Cage is like, Red's like, what did you do? She's like, I watched them kill all these birds, and then I ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when it got to be my turn.
When it got to be my turn, and you see, there's a scar on her face, so that there's a lot of like nonverbal communication about abuse.
There's a lot of subtleties.
There's a lot of subtleties with that. So she was definitely grew up in an abuse childhood situation, and he's a former alcoholic. So, and they're bonding together, two broken people trying to make a whole, kind of situation. I just wanted to touch on that before.
Oh yeah, and you can tell that like they do have this connection,
right?
They spend some time on a lake, and they're like camping out there. They're laying in bed together, and their bedroom is like, the house is fucking impossible because it's like their entire bedroom is just surrounded by windows, huge windows,
two glass walls.
Yeah, basically it's glass walls. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And like there's always at night there's always this blue light coming in.
Well, and that blue light shifts direction, like specifically in that scene. What I kind of found, what I liked, again, going back about the lighting and shadow in this is, throughout that scene, the lights and the shadows keep moving around. So like you see her, and then you don't see her, and then you see more of him, and then like you have the glow of the television that's there to kind of put just a little bit of faint light over everything.
It's like they're changing the light just to make you feel like you're just not watching, nothing happen right now. Like things are changing even though nothing's happening.
Yeah. So that leads us into, apparently we kind of pick up that like Red will be gone for some time to do his logging job, because
and
they take,
she's
like, a
working
helicopter,
somewhere, like
and
at
she works in like this
little general store
kind
of thing.
That threw me off because like there's no
explanation or setup for that.
And there's no like cash register or anything like that.
If you're watching this movie for story hooks, stop.
Yeah, this is more of an experience movie.
Again,
I will say that.
Again, the surreality of the entirety of this. Don't ask why things are going on.
Right.
Just know that in this reality, it can happen.
But I will say this, though, up until this point, this is something we'll probably have to acknowledge later. 35 minutes in, this is when we see this, I think, around 30-ish minutes, something like that. It feels like about 30
Something
minutes.
like that.
32 minutes.
32 minutes
Oh, wow,
when we
okay.
get to the clerk area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody took notes. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
No. It's ingrained in my mind.
There
Okay,
you go.
wow.
You did watch it 4 times.
That is very true. Yeah.
So yeah, this
One last thing. I apologize for this. So again, we've been talking about subtlety. However, they live near Crystal Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those that's like when you're playing with a movie with like, again, with like this metaphor, this visual metaphor and subtlety, just go, oh yeah, we're at Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I get this. Okay, yes, thank you.
Speaking of that,
So yeah, this leads us into the next title card, which is Children of the New Dawn, and we see this. Mandy is walking down the road with her book, and this van comes down the road, and it's filled with this cult. Basically, you have this guy named Jeremiah, who
I think Jeremiah Sand.
catches her eye, and he sees her, and and you have several other people in there, and he then we cut to there at they stop at a hotel or a motel or something, and the guy who was driving the van comes in.
Brother Swan.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's like laid out on the bed.
Jeremiah's laid out on the bed.
It's like he
he's
can't move.
And when he mentioned,
not Brother Swan, the older woman.
Yeah, the
There's
older
an
woman's there first.
Sister somebody, I can't remember her name.
I thought she was Mother something because
Mother, maybe.
she was like
Mother
the matron,
Marlene.
and then
Mother
there was
Marlene,
and there was Sister Lucy.
Sister Lucy.
That's
Yeah,
the
Sister
younger
Lucy.
woman.
She comes in and is like, "What can I do to help?"
Yeah, well, when she mentioned bring me Brother Swan, I'm like, Swan from the Warriors. This is the Psycho Warriors. This is exactly what he
Or
planned.
Swan from Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And he goes, "There's nothing you can do." He basically berates her and treats her like shit.
And she's like begging him for her to let him,
Yeah.
let her help him. And
Yeah.
he's like, I don't want
So you
anything
can
to
tell
do with
very
you.
quickly that all of these people are just wrapped around his
Right.
finger. Even if you didn't know this was a cult, like that should key you in. So Brother Swan comes in and is like, "Hey, what's up?" Basically, and he's like, "That woman that I saw on the road,
I want her.
I want her.
He was like, "Okay, you said it. It's going to be done.
Right.
We're going to do it." And then I think this is where he mentions you have to call them or whatever.
Yeah.
He gives
You
him
have to call them.
He gives him the horn of Abraxas.
The Horn of Rex, which is an ocarina,
A
Yeah.
rock ocarina.
which
that's
you know,
like green.
yeah, which leads me to believe that fuck, Zelda's gonna show up. It's gonna be fucking great.
At this point, I forgot to tell everybody, if you're epileptic, maybe you don't need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because like when he pulls out the horn, like strobe lights happen.
like flashing white and green lights.
Yeah,
flashing.
Before they use the horn though, the old lady, mother, what's her name, shows up at the fucking general store.
Yeah,
and she finds Mandy.
And she's like, oh, what are you reading? Blah blah blah. Small talk, and she's like, hey, how's it going? And then Mandy's like, yeah, we live over there at Crystal
Yeah,
Lake.
she
And it's
tells
like,
him-
what
she
the
tells
fuck
him
are
where
you
they live.
doing?
Brother Swan and several of the other guys and the other three guys go out
Mullet boy.
go out to this they all are like slack jawed and
Well, it's from the
Hanker-
acid.
yeah
It's
that is-
Brother
Oh yeah,
Hanker,
they
Brother
took
Lewis, and
they
Brother-
took
Brother
copious
Klopek.
amounts of acid.
yes
and-
the drugs are all throughout this movie. They go out to this dark area in the forest at night and Brother Swan blows the horn
it
and
gets
eventually-
really red.
Which,
yeah
and also, if you're watching this on Tubi with closed captioning on, it like when he goes up to use the ocarina, it goes whistling, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I feel bad for the deaf now even more
That is-
because that is some of the most haunting fucking. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
It was very drone like.
Yeah.
It was a lot of drone
very-
going on.
disturbing sound.
I was worried it was the brown note, and I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sidetrack us, okay?
Yes.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Like we don't sidetrack ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cast list and like the characters that they portray. Brother Klopek, played by Clement Baronet. The only picture that comes up is just him in a black and white like drawing, and he's totally jacked.
Nice.
Like a drawing.
Is that the big guy?
Yeah,
That's a photograph.
is that a photograph?
Yes.
you have your glasses off, jackass.
Is that that must be the big guy
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
it. We'll
Yeah.
we'll get to
We'll get to his.
fun.
We'll get
Yeah.
to his scene.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very important scene.
Yes.
No, that's a fucking drawing. I swear that's a drawing.
Hold on.
While y'all are figuring this out, we'll continue.
That is a
He
photograph.
blows the horn and you hear engines and motorcycles. That is yeah, that's a real thing. Oh yeah, that is the big guy.
Yeah.
Let's continue passing this around and have
Yes.
everybody touch Ethan's phone.
There you go.
So he blows this horn. You hear these engines revving and everything, and these really disturbing bikers come out. Some of them are on 4-wheelers. Some of them are on bikes.
Straight out of Weird Science.
They all wearing leather. Some of them have spikes literally all over them. Some of them have spikes just in random places. They
Some
all
of them
have weird
spikes
masks
in them.
Yeah,
That's because they're not human.
the supposed
No.
head guy.
They were human.
They
Yeah.
were human. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
The supposed who you're assuming is the head guy of them comes up to the guy and he touches Brother Swan's face with his sharp metal fingers and makes him bleed. And then they give him this jar of stuff. You find out later it's apparently very strong LSD, but it is just like this thick, disgusting goop.
Well, yeah, because the demonoid guy is like blood for blood or some
he
shit.
says blood for blood in this
I was
really
so
weird
hoping he was
voice.
going, blood for the blood god. It's like Corn's here.
And he drinks
40K.
it.
He drinks the LSD.
Yeah, and they're like, well, before that, you know what you have to do. Like,
Right.
your part first.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Mandy and Red asleep, and then we hear the rumblings. Well, no, we cut to outside and we see like the silhouettes of them against this red light. Everything with the bikers is there's a red light
There's
around
a lot
them.
of red light silhouettes.
And everything is lit behind them. So that these are forms in the distance. What the fuck are they?
You really and really even when they show them, they're not clear. It's very grainy or like there's lens flare around them. They do a really good job of making them very creepy and very disturbing. But they also you never see the seams, so to speak, because this didn't
the zipper is well hidden.
Yeah, this didn't have a huge budget, so you can see how they kind of got around things with the
very creative
with the way they did.
At the first 3 times I watched this, I only watched up until like the 45-minute mark because I would just get so boring with it. The 4th time I watched this movie and I got to the part where we're coming up, I stayed awake the entire time.
Okay.
I did not close my eyes.
So you fell asleep is what you're saying the first 3 times.
Yes.
Okay.
Because of how long drawn out it was.
You're not
That's a
used
passive-aggressive review if I've ever heard one.
He's not used to watching films that have slow burn.
Yeah, I mean, some people, that's not their thing. I really like slow burn films, so it doesn't bother me as much.
It's also what you're used to.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just used to, like, mostly, like, Marvel action or comedy or, like, Pixar.
Now, that was passive aggressive.
Yeah.
It's also true, though.
But yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But you have to kind of build up a tolerance to like.
You
a
definitely
slower
have to
burn
build
movie.
up a tolerance to this kind of thing.
It's really hard to train yourself to learn to find little things. And I'm not saying that as any insulting. It took me time. I used to. Oh, these are boring films.
For me, like when I'm watching something like Mandy, I'm like, what the fuck is that? What's happening? Where's going on? And then 15 minutes in, I'm like, what's going on? Like nothing's happening yet.
So anyway, we cut to them, and then they attack. They come in and they get Mandy and they get Red and they knock Red out. And then we cut to the children of the New Dawn are here, and the mother and the sister have Mandy tied up at the table, and they force her eye open, and they take these drops and they drop them in her eyes. And if you know anything about drugs, LSD, they're dropping LSD into
so
her eyes.
Just absorb that shit immediately.
That is one of the ways that you take LSD.
And then right after that, they like hold her arm down and they take this huge bee wasp combination out of a jar
That was soaking in the LSD.
Yes.
and they sting it in her arm.
Yes.
Yeah, and then said something. I can't remember.
Mother said that's what I call the cherry on top.
The cherry on top. Yeah.
So Mandy is tripping her ass
She's
off.
drugged out of her
She is
mind.
tripping balls.
And they bring her into the living room where they're all kind of splayed out, and Jeremiah, the leader, is behind them, dressed in this really elaborate, weird robe. And he puts on some music, and he goes through this whole thing of, this I wrote this, and I, they didn't see my genius, and this and that. And then he disrobes. I forgot that there was some penis in this, so if you have some.
Before you get to the dick, I need to talk about this scene because one of the cleverest and subtlest. You don't see it until you see it, and then you can never unsee it. They keep fading her face onto his face as he's talking to her. So it's this notion of they're becoming one, or they're trying to become one, but it always keeps fading out, which makes you think, no, she's disconnecting.
Yeah.
from it
And he's
every
also
time.
he goes into this like really long monologue, basically about like being a failure in normal society.
Yeah. But then God talked to him.
Yeah.
To admit to also put you in this, you're not seeing this all through her eyes, but you're seeing this as she would see it. So like everything's like super red, and everybody's echoing, and there's echoing in
there's
the
definitely
visuals
there's
as well.
also
So like
definite
somebody
pitch
will
shifting.
walk and you will see an echo behind them.
Definite pitch shifting, like their voices are
their
deeper.
voices are off and echoing and going lower than they're supposed to, and everything like this. So it's very, very trippy visuals during this, and you can pick up kind of what he's trying to do is to indoctrinate her
Into the cult.
You can probably like you're supposed to feel like
to
this
my
is
family
basically
sort of
what he
thing.
did to
everybody else.
in this cult. But yeah, then he disrobes, and then you get this where he's just looking straight at the camera, and that's the part that Jay was talking about, where it fades in and out.
No, that was while he's talking with her before the disrobing.
So in the full shot too, I remember seeing it in the face.
When you watch him when it's just his face talking with her. You will notice that, like, you'll start noticing her face, like, they start fading her face. Like, if we go back to our Psycho, so like the skull right before the very end when they impose on that, that's going in and out very subtly on his face.
Yeah, and if you, I remember the first time I watched this, and I didn't really understand that until the more it did it, I just kept, oh my God, what the fuck is happening with his face? Like, it kept, because it's really weird. And he's going on this long thing about, God, I met God and all of this, and basically getting her to try and fall in love with him and join the cult. And then she answers with, like, he's naked and everything. Like, he's like, okay, we're going to bone,
he's naked
and you're going to be mine.
And flaccid.
And very flaccid.
Yeah. Thankfully.
And he was like, well, it wouldn't have been an R, it would have been NC-17 if he was not flaccid.
Gotcha.
So, them's the rules. So he's basically like, okay, I've made my pitch. What do you think?
He's dancing around like, Buffalo Bill or Wild Bill or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, long blonde hair. He's very creepy looking.
Yeah.
And she goes, you made this music? And then he goes, yeah. Then she starts laughing and just psychotic laughing almost, like just over the top, just will not stop laughing. And he's getting very frustrated because he can't finish the deed, so to speak, and it makes him really, really mad.
Well, no.
Well, she's laughing
he starts beating off.
Yes.
Well, they don't show that on, but you see his arm doing
he does that
motion.
He does that when she starts laughing.
Yeah.
At his dick.
Because she's laughing at his flaccid penis and at the music at the same time. And he gets really pissed off, and so he aggressively starts masturbating.
Yes.
It's just his face that you see.
Yeah.
And he starts aggressively, like, making those facial expressions, and nothing is happening.
Yes.
And he gets really fucking mad.
Yes. Yeah. And then we cut to Red is tied up with barbed wire on his hands and through his mouth outside. And then so they all come out. Jeremiah and Brother Swan come out and start talking to Red and basically talking shit to him about, if y'all remember more specifically what they said, but
I don't.
kind of like y'all think y'all are, oh yeah, he says, like, you think you're love, and then he brings the sister, the younger woman out and says, this is love, and he like pulls out a gun.
Oh yeah,
that's right. And puts one bullet in it and spins it.
Right.
And then gives it to her.
Russian roulette.
And tells her, pull the trigger basically, and she gets down on her knees and like pulls the trigger.
And like, nothing happens.
That's love.
Yeah.
And then they pull out this weird ass dagger. Brother Swan says, you pile of excrement. This is I don't know, it's some really pretentious name for this ugly looking ass knife.
Right.
And they stab him in the side.
My favorite shirt.
Yeah. Well, no, that's later.
That's later.
Because right now he's wearing. There's a lot of symbolism with tigers and Red being connected with tigers, and because he's wearing a red shirt with a tiger on it, or a tiger face.
Right.
And then they bring out a sleeping bag.
Yep.
Carrying it over their shoulder, and that Mandy is in this sleeping bag.
Yes, you do.
And they tie this sleeping bag up over a tree, over like a tree or like
something.
some kind of frame.
It's hanging above the ground,
and they pull it up, and then they douse it in gasoline and set it on fire. And
while
then,
Cage watches.
Yeah, and it's most like it's just cutting to Cage's face reacting to watching the woman that he loves
burn to death.
And then it cuts to just the flailing of this. It is very
while these cultists are laughing.
While they're just
and right before they light her on fire, one of the brothers goes, "The darkest horrors burn the brightest."
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think that was the mother that said that, wasn't it?
No, that was one.
Was
of
it one of the brothers?
Because it was the mother didn't talk to Red before that. I don't think.
It's the brother that blew the horn of Abraxas.
Yeah, and this
Brother Swan.
Brother Swan, thank you.
This scene, it feels like this is a scene that feels like it goes on forever because it is just this horrible. It's watching this guy react horribly, and like he can't fully like express himself
because his mouth is wired open
across his mouth.
Yeah.
And just then it just cuts to all the other people, and they're just sitting there watching it. It's a rough scene.
They're licking their lips and shit too.
Yeah, some of them are licking their lips. Like Jeremiah looks very content.
Oh yeah.
But then we cut to a little bit later. They're all just leaving, and Jeremiah is dressed like a hippie.
Because he's a hippie.
That is true.
He's Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
One thing we forgot to mention earlier, whenever the biker gang was taking Red and Mandy, they had whenever the biker leader said "blood for blood," we saw that one of Jeremiah's guys was also getting dragged away by one.
Oh yeah,
bikers.
there was a fat kid that they decided.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that is
getting
true.
dragged away into the blue mist while they were abducting Red and Mandy.
That's true.
Because Mandy kind of sees it.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So then Red works his arm basically until he can get a hand free, and gets over, and then he crawls over to the pile of ashes, and you can just kind of see the outline
like half of a skull.
Half of a skull, and he picks it up, and then it just
disintegrates.
It disintegrates and blows away, so he doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he kind of slowly walks into his house, looking very out of it, as he should.
There's something on TV, and he's just like staring.
No. There's
we're not
something
not
on
just
TV.
something. We're going to talk about the fucking Cheddar Goblin.
People who have watched this before will get mad if we don't talk about.
I forgot about
the fucking Cheddar Goblin.
I forgot about
we see not the full. There is a deleted scene that I watched that has the full commercial. Yeah. Of the Cheddar Goblin, and the Cheddar Goblin is basically like a Kraft mac and cheese knockoff of this. These kids are sitting down at a table, and this green weird ass looking goblin puppet comes out
and regurgitates
and barfs mac and cheese
all over,
everywhere, on top of the children, into their bowls, everywhere.
And they is Cheddar Goblin, yeah.
And they're all they're so happy to have mac and cheese vomited on them. It is insane. Don't ask me what the fuck this means. I have no fucking idea.
I'll tell you exactly what it means, because okay, so I watched this twice, and I looked for reviews, and Red Letter Media has done a review on Mandy. Very insightful, very good stuff. But one thing that Jay Bauman, I think he hit the nail on the head, so I'm going to steal this from him. So you just had your girlfriend burned to death in front of you by a crazed, murderous hippie cult. And the first thing you experience after that is a Kraft macaroni and cheese ad. Basically, what we're trying to tell you is the isolation, that they live isolated, they live all alone. Yeah, you are so alone. The world doesn't give a fuck about you, because I don't give a fuck that your girlfriend burned to death. Here's some fucking macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You don't matter.
And he's looking at the TV like completely disconnected from reality there.
I think he just goes,
Cheddar Goblin.
Cheddar Goblin. Yeah. And he picks up a shirt.
Yeah.
This is his favorite shirt. He kind of holds it. Yeah. Falls down goes to his bed, falls down on it, then immediately has like a vision of Mandy and all of this weird shit.
This is like one of the first instances of the animated sequences.
Because there's several times where it cuts to these animated sequences of Mandy, and this one it's the back of her head, and then she slowly turns around, and you see it's like a skull with like backlit
very gaunt
stuff. Very gaunt,
and slowly decomposing.
That's the word. So he gets up, and what's the first thing that he does? He goes to the fucking bathroom.
He goes to a bathroom that was in The Shining.
Yes.
It looked like a fucking, like, from the Overlook
Like
Hotel.
I said, this house that he lives in is imfucking possible.
He's in his tidy whities.
And a t-shirt. And
the tiger t-shirt, very important.
And he digs through some shelves or some thing,
drawers,
and some drawers. I could not think of the word. Thank you. And he finds this humongous bottle of liquor.
Yeah, I think it's
humongous bottle.
I'm gonna go with Stoli vodka.
It was probably some clear.
But yeah, all the paperwork's taken off of it. So
Yeah.
Do an audible reenactment real quick. He picks up the bottle and he starts pouring it down his throat and he goes,
And he's like pouring it over his wounds and pouring it on his side where he got stabbed.
The man
and
screams
then
for like
drinking more.
3
And then
minutes.
drinks more and then pours it over his head and then sits down on the toilet and it's and like hitting himself and like putting his hands and like this is a man
Losing his shit.
We are watching a man lose his mind. Also, again, remember, he gave up. He said a guy just offered him a beer and he was like, "No, I don't want this." Mm-hmm. So it can be kind of seen that like she was one of the things that was kind of keeping him away from alcohol, and he immediately goes to this, and basically spends the rest of the movie on something. One way or another.
This was not a fifth.
Let's not spoil that before it's time.
This was not
we'll
a
get to
fifth.
details. But
This was like a fucking like half a gallon bottle of vodka, and he drank like half of it.
Yeah.
This like he downs this and just loses his
Screaming and grunting and just bloodied underwear, sitting on the toilet,
shit. Yeah.
losing his mind.
And then from there we go to was assumed to be the next day or early or later in the day. Mm-hmm. He pulls up to this RV in the middle of nowhere because everything's in the middle of nowhere here. I believe this is like the Pacific Northwest, maybe because there's trees and lakes.
It felt very East Oregon.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
probably. He's got his arms all bandaged up, and he's wearing the shirt that he picked up earlier. It's like a 3/4 sleeve shirt with like 44 on it. Knocks on his door, and the guy tells him, "Go away."
The door says "fuck off."
Fuck off. Yeah, read the door. Read the door. And he knocks again, and then the guy opens the door, and it's Bill fucking Duke
From the Predator.
From the Predator. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you. So they go in, and he's like, what do you need? He's like, I'm here for the beast. So they go in, and he's like, it's over there somewhere, and he gets this big ass crossbow.
What are you gonna do with that?
I'm going hunting.
What are you hunting?
I can't remember what he says from here.
I can't remember either, to be honest with you.
But he says, well, why are you hunting? Here's that. And he gives him like these really sharp arrows. Like they'll go through bone like it's nothing. And then he's like, I'll give them to you as long as you put them to good use. And then Red sits down and kind of loses it again. And he's like, what happened? And he was like, he burned her alive. Like he loses his shit again, you know. Mm-hmm. Who? These hippie freaks.
The hippie freaks.
And they had this muscle. It's just pure evil. And the guy's like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
Right.
These biker guys.
Matter of factly. No.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, I know who those are. Rumors are going around of this horrific biker gang called the Black Skulls. And they ran LSD, and the guy who was making the LSD didn't like them, so he gave them a bad batch, and they hadn't been right since. And when I saw them, they were doing all kinds of weird shit, and they was in a world of pain. You know what the weirdest thing was? What? They fucking loved it.
That's why they have like railroad spikes going through themselves.
Yeah, they were once human, but they're beyond that now. And then we cut to Red found a forge somewhere and forges.
Of all the things that come out of fucking nowhere in this movie, he makes
an axe.
No, it's not that he makes an axe. He makes a fucking D&D fantasy axe.
Yeah.
That is not a practical axe.
This thing is chrome.
Yeah.
It has a huge spike on the end. It's all one piece.
It was like a scimitar axe.
Yeah.
I was surprised that like the hilt of it wasn't made of a human spine. Like
when he first pulls it up, there's like this lens flare everywhere. You can barely even see it.
Like we're talking like Super 8 fucking J.J. Abrams lens flare. Just fuck all everywhere on this thing.
So the most metal axe that you have ever seen.
Pretty metal.
In fact, until the
Fucking
Northman.
Testament should have been playing while this shit was going on.
In fact, until the Northman, this was the most metal movie ever. I'm sorry.
Like I
it's
said,
been
any
dethroned.
1970s metal rock album.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
there you go.
So we cut to he's kind of posted up on a hill, and he's apparently found out where these guys
Where
are.
the skulls are.
Yeah, and they're coming through the woods, and he shoots one of them off their
Four-wheeler, I
This
think.
one was a four-wheeler, yeah, an ATV. And then he decides what he's going to do with this guy is he's going to take his truck and he's going to run this motherfucker over.
Yep.
And it flips his truck because this is the guy that is completely full of spikes.
Right. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Dude's metal.
Yeah.
Literal.
So he wakes up and he is handcuffed to a pipe, and then his other hand is nailed to the floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he sees one of the biker guys doing weird shit over in a little ways away from him, and he screams when he notices that his hand is nailed to the floor. So the guy comes over, and he's like pulling on his and you see that the pipe that he's connected to is kind of loosening. And the guy bends down. I don't think he does. I can't remember what all he does, but he tells the guy, like, in this weird ass voice, "You have a death wish." He's like, "I don't want to talk about that, man. I don't want to talk about that." And at this point, he pulls down the pipe and then starts beating the guy with the pipe, and then knocks him into this hole that apparently was right next to him.
Yeah.
I thought that was like an elevator
A
shaft
pit or something, or a
something.
shaft or something.
Because we had no idea what kind of building they're in.
Okay, an elevator shaft makes sense. I'm like, stop making sense.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
fucking experience
We have
this
no
shit.
idea what kind of fucking building this is or
It's
anything.
just a fucking sinkhole in their house.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and he knocks this guy over. So he has to like pull the nail out of his hand, which is really hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then he comes out. It's like a basement area, and he comes out of this, and it's like a house. And he finds this dead old couple. So apparently these people have like killed these old people and are and they're just kind of chilling here, I guess. And one of the guys is watching TV, right?
And he's watching a pornography.
He's watching old 70s pornography. This chick just getting railed by this dude with a mustache. And he sneaks up behind him and then starts fighting the guy. Well, no, does he kill this guy automatically? I can't remember.
They fought for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, was him or the other guy? Because there's a second guy who comes in after this.
Oh shit! No, good
I
point.
think he kills this guy like pretty easily. Hits him with something or shoots him.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he finds no, this is afterward. Then this other biker guy comes in with a shotgun and he fights that guy and eventually kills him as well. And then he finds his axe they had put up on the wall somehow. And then he finds they put the Reaper, the crossbow in some
The beast.
See, I'm imagining the scene that you don't see of them as like, sorry, this is a cool axe. I think I'm gonna put it in the kitchen nook. And it's gonna bring out. It's gonna bring out.
Isn't the pipe scene the scene where he gets stabbed or
It's
no?
gonna bring out the feng shui.
No, he got stabbed
Put it
earlier.
above the fireplace.
Yeah. Like
you got-
with my favorite shirt stabbed.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
The guy like cuts his shirt and he like cuts him because he had like a knife or something and he goes, "That's my favorite shirt." Which later you find out why it's his favorite shirt.
Right.
He wasn't lying. And he also finds the guy who was
There's
watching.
so much happening in this apartment. at
Yeah,
one
the
time.
guy. Yeah, forgive us.
Yeah.
There's a lot. The guy who the weird biker guy who was watching the porn also had a table in front of him with a humongous mound of cocaine.
Yes.
Just the biggest mound.
Yes.
Humongous. He cuts one of the guy's throat and blood just goes everywhere. He spends
blood gushes all over
the rest of the entire movie just covered in blood.
Right.
With his entire face, he never washes it off. He doesn't. Who has time?
And I wonder if that was so over the top just to like, okay, understand this is a farce.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we can take a little bit of the edge off because if it only been like a few drops of blood, that would have been almost more like disturbing.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's all the blood in this guy.
It's Evil Dead 2 blood.
Yeah. and then he picks up a broken piece of glass that was in the pile of cocaine, and
Scoops it like it's ice cream.
and just
Like a whole big ass scoop of fucking
like-
coke.
Yep.
fucking Scarface would be jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just
Snorts.
takes just as much
All
of it
the
as he possibly
cocaine.
can. It is just covering his face. Then he finds a jar of liquid.
Yep. Sticks his finger in
And
it.
what do you do with a random jar of liquid? You stick your finger.
Stick his pinky.
You stick your pinky in, and
Give it
then
a
you
little
take a
taste.
touch.
You put it on your tongue, and then a Rob Zombie cartoon flashes for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Then we get some visuals.
Yeah.
Fucking some horror visuals and shit. It's like, what the
And then
fuck?
in Raiders of the Lost Ark, his face melts and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We
There
have
was some face melting.
He like his face melts. All of this stuff. So this is some really good shit. And this leads us to. Is this where he fights the leader?
I think so.
Yeah. He goes outside and there's a burning car, I believe, and just the guy who you saw was the leader earlier. Is just standing there
Just
looking
at the car on fire.
So he takes the crossbow and he shoots the guy through the neck. And the guy doesn't move.
Right.
And in fact,
pulls it out.
He
He
pulls
pulls it out.
the fucking arrow through his neck, and blood is just spurting everywhere.
This is like a razor tipped arrow.
yeah.
This will go through bone. Won't stop the pain freaks, but it'll
Yeah.
fucking get through their bones.
So then he pulls out his humongous metal axe and starts fighting the guy. And the guy has the razor tipped hands. And so they're fighting and they're going back and forth. And he eventually
This movie started out as a logger and his artist girlfriend
Yeah.
in the forests of Oregon near Crystal Lake. And now we just got fucking axe murder and fucking, oh my God.
So he's fighting him and he's getting cut and he's cutting the guy and he eventually like wounds the guy pretty good and the guy goes in a weird voice again. She's still burning. I don't know how this guy knew what they did because these people left, but whatever.
They're demons.
And then he says something I can't remember, and then he basically like hits him again, and he falls into the fire. And starts burning and falling down, and then he cuts his head off.
Yes.
And then what is one of the grossest parts of the movie, believe it or not, Red finds a half smoked cigarette on the ground, just in the dirt, and picks it up.
Yep.
And then lights it off of the guy's still burning head.
Decapitated.
Burning head.
See, here's why this is not disgusting for me. This motherfucker snorted cocaine off of what is easily the most
It
diseased.
shouldn't have been the most
It's
disgusting
the
part,
most
but for me, I was like,
broken glass of all time.
oh God, ground cigarette.
Yeah, he dipped his finger in fucking acid that you know for a fact those guys stuck their tongue in that
Yeah.
jar.
This is
you
also
just know they did
a
that.
half-smoked
Well, they drank
cigarette.
out of it earlier.
The only people that were around are these fucking bikers, so it was on one of those
Also,
motherfuckers'
earlier in the
lips.
film, you saw the saddest, flaccidest penis of all time. It's like you cannot fluff yourself
That was-
after the reveal. You fluff first, and then you go.
that was so stylized you could barely make out the penis.
That's true.
You're trying to excuse the guy for having a small penis
I wanna make
by
it-
having it stylized.
the guy at first didn't want to do that, but the more he thought, like he had told the director, like I don't think I want to be naked. And then the more like
Because he's a grower, not a shower.
when they got closer to it, like he eventually was like, yeah, I think this will look best in the scene if I
I killed Jay.
This man has a name, and he will forever be known as this.
yeah.
I will say that it was special effects that shrunk his dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
He was in
They
a cold.
imposed
He
a
was in
smaller penis
he
over
was-
his penis.
He was in a cold pool before the show.
Yeah.
I want to make a mental image of Brady's thought process. Okay, flaccid penis, that's okay. A mountain of cocaine, that's okay. Disease-infested jar, that's okay. Half-smoked cigarette on the goat, that's where we draw
Like
the
this,
line.
like it was in the dirt, and that's just gross. Like
To me, it's not the grossest thing, but I will.
for some reason, like it for me, it was.
I will.
That's what I'm just
I will
saying.
co-sign gross.
So, this leads us to the chemist, I believe.
The chemist.
Yeah.
Who was mentioned earlier?
Yeah. Red. Don't ask me how Red knows where to go. Don't worry about that.
It's that acid, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he figured out where he needed to go.
So he drives one of the ATVs to this warehouse and meets the chemist. And the chemist is this weird dude
with a tiger.
Who apparently that's how he tests his LSD. This guy, no gloves. He has an apron on and no shirt.
He also looks like he could have been one of the cultists.
Yeah.
Like straight up. He was in 3 from Hell, the Rob Zombie film.
Richard Brake.
Yeah.
He's in something else that I saw something about recently. Oh yeah, I was just listening to a podcast about Hobo with a Shotgun. I think he's.
I need to know more about this sitted up lion.
So.
Yeah, there's a fucking tiger in the cage. There's a tiger, right?
Yeah, like he turns around and like his fingers are all wet because he's just dipping the blotter paper with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Into. For those who don't know anything about LSD, it can be transferred through skin contact. So this is like the dude is tripping fucking balls right now.
Like the regular disclaimer is not going to be enough.
No,
like it's going to be like it's like audience discretion is advised. Also, drink responsibly. Don't snort coke off of dirty glass.
Don't pick up cigarettes.
Don't pick up cigarettes off the ground.
If you watch anything in this movie and you're like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to try this."
Good point.
You got bigger problems.
Don't stick your finger in jars of clearly unascertainable.
Just like Basketball Diaries is. Just like Basketball Diaries is the best anti-drug movie you could ever watch. This also is one of those.
Red this whole time never speaks a word. But the guy apparently telepathically communicates with him because he will just like, oh yeah, you're right, and then like he tells, oh that's Jackie or something. He tells him the name of the.
He's like, you see that? That's my tiger.
That's my tiger. When she's calm, I know that
everything's
good.
Okay.
See,
everything's good.
Everyone's so high. That's actually a lion, but everybody hallucinates
Probably.
it as a tiger.
He's like, everything's good, man.
And then he just goes, okay, and then he touches and he hits a button and it opens up, and then the tiger just leaves.
Yeah. Walks right past Cage.
And like then he just goes north. Like so apparently like Red is just communicating with him telepathically because he'll cut to Red and he won't say anything, and he'll cut back to him like he said something and then he'll answer. It's really fucking weird.
And also, I mean, like you could just if he wasn't tripping balls, could just assume that like this guy's like covered in blood. Mm-hmm. Some of my previous, people.
Except he's having a full-on fucking conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He's tripping balls because his fingers are very wet.
Yeah.
And then the first thing he does when he turns around is like lick his fingers.
Right.
It is. Oh boy.
That has a lot of LSD.
Okay. So yeah, he heads north and he finds this. It's like in a quarry area, and they've built this weird triangle-shaped church area with like a big cross cut out in the front. And then he sees that the van that they were driving, it drives off. So he earlier also we forgot he found these like nail balls that's really it's like spiked like huge nail caltrop things, and you see them thrown on the ground, and the van runs over them, and then Brother Swan and the younger woman, the sister Lucy, they get out, so, and he punches Brother Swan and then drags him out of the van and then throws him up against a tree. And I can't remember what Brother Swan says something about Mandy being a whore or something.
He tries to have a monologue.
Yeah,
after Mandy shows up, he's all about just talking about whores.
Yeah,
Brother Swan is.
So as he's talking, Red turns the end of the axe around, and the really sharp, spiky end, he shoves it through his mouth. So Brother Swan's dead. And he turns around to look at Sister Lucy, and he sees that she's like crying and whatever. And we can kind of assume that he leaves her be because he sees how brainwashed she is. And she really didn't. She wasn't really part of the super evil stuff. She's being controlled. Then we cut to later. It's like night, and there's like an old Cadillac car, something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'm not good with cars, but. And the one of the younger guys, I can't remember his name, but he's like washing the car.
I like to call him Brother Mullet.
Yeah, he's got a huge mullet and he's very slack jawed. He looks inbred. Sorry, whoever you are, guy.
Maybe that was makeup, man. And he doesn't mind.
Maybe
Maybe the makeup.
maybe
department,
maybe he's a good actor. Maybe he's good at that. I don't
maybe
know.
the makeup department gave that dude a flaccid penis.
So he's
I
like
don't know.
washing his car and like spit shining it. It's really gross. And then you hear, and he turns around and Red has thrown his axe and hits him in the head. And then Red finds a chainsaw, and he slowly goes up to the guy who's kind of more the bigger guy, the muscular guy of the group,
Klopek.
He's trying this whole time to crank the chainsaw and it won't crank. And Brother Klopek is sitting on like a log and he sees him. He's just like, oh, okay. And then he goes around behind the log and pulls out like a 6 foot long
The largest chainsaw
It is
I've ever seen.
comedically huge. And he revs it up in one go. So he's coming so they have a chainsaw fight.
which is appropriate because it was established in the beginning that he's a logger.
He's a logger, so he knows how to use a chainsaw, but it's just not working. And eventually, he gets his chainsaw done, and fight sparks are going up. They dual chainsaws.
Yeah, it's like if Star Wars was on crack.
Yeah, it's basically imagine Duel of the Fates, but with chainsaws instead of lightsabers. This is what happens.
I need this fight rescored to Duel of the Fates right fucking.
Yeah,
Corn on the kebab.
yeah. It's really epic, and then he eventually the brother knocks his chainsaw out of his hand, and then he eventually knocks the chainsaw out of the other guy's hand, and they're both like fighting for that. Red gets his humongous chain and like swings it around and wraps it around the dude's neck and pulls him down onto one of the chainsaws, and the guy just gets destroyed by this running chainsaw.
He gets blendered.
Yeah, he gets
which I
blendered.
think that was practical effects. And
It was.
Bravo for that.
It was
Yeah.
very effective.
Yeah.
Even though all you saw was like just blood coming out from underneath him,
Yeah.
like his movements and everything
it was very
looked
brutal
really cool.
looking. Very, very brutal.
Very cool.
So then Red, all he's got left is to go into the weird ass church, and he goes into this weird ass wood church thing. He looks at assuming like a Bible or something that's on a pedestal, and then he goes down. He finds there's a ladder down, so he goes down and there's these caverns. And he's going through the caverns, and then he eventually comes upon the older woman, the mother, and she starts. Good Lord.
Yeah. She starts coming on to him.
Man.
That's her only defense.
Yeah.
What's she going to do?
She starts telling him how good she can fuck him and how she was the best lover that Jeremiah's ever had.
The whole cult. She's like, I'm so sensitive. I just make everybody
she's so sensitive to the other person's
when
needs.
I knew she was a cunt when she called herself an empath.
Yeah, going on all this.
If you've never met a person before and within a minute of knowing them, the first thing they tell you is that they're a natural empath or an empath, run away.
Yeah,
Run the
that
fuck
just
away.
means that you have empathy. I'm sorry, everybody has that.
Yeah. Well, no,
Some of us have more than others.
Not everybody has
Most everybody has empathy. Like it's not that good of a.
Like,
you're not the special boy. I'm sorry.
I wish somebody was I'm a complete.
Cut this because there might be some because no because it's all those weird hot chicks who are who call themselves empaths.
You got it, Father Jeremiah. I'll do that immediately.
Oh, geez, I just realized that I just made this worse.
Yes, you did.
So moving on.
Yes, you did.
So moving on.
Please.
We cut to Red continuing to walk down these caverns, and he comes to this weird ass cavern where Jeremiah is naked, and there's like this red light coming down from them.
I thought he had some pants on. I thought he was just topless.
Maybe, I don't know. It's all really red and stylized and grainy, so it's hard to tell sometimes.
Like the visuals take more precedent over the actual substance.
Knowing what happened before, I'm just going to assume that he's naked. Yeah. I don't know. He may not be. Imagine it however you want, people. So Jeremiah turns around and he throws something to him, and it turns out to be the head of the mother. So we find out what happened to her.
That was a really good practical effect.
It was.
Too.
That was very cool. Jeremiah like falls to his knees. Is like, please don't kill me. It's like, he takes Jeremiah's head in his hand, and then Jeremiah.
I want to say one thing about his little diatribe with it. First of all, like that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he knew he was a fucking bullshit artist.
Yeah.
Because it's like once the entire veil of what he created for himself was completely shattered by this one man.
But during that, like while his head is cupped in Red's hands, he does go through the plead bargaining part of it. But then he also like turns it around.
Before that, though, I forgot. But when he walks in and throws the head down, Jeremiah's saying all this mystical bullshit. Like it doesn't really matter what he says. He's talking out of his ass because he's full of himself.
Right.
Red doesn't have very many lines in this, but he says, a psychotic drowns where the mystic swims. And he says, I'm swimming and you're drowning. This is, from what I can find, this was a riff on a Joseph Campbell, who did The Hero with 1,000 Faces. This is something that he said in one of his books, not that particular book, but another book. And he falls to the ground and he's like pleading and everything. And then eventually he stops pleading. And he's just like, I'm God, I'm this, I'm that. And so, Red, squishes his head, with his bare hands. I guess that LSD strength.
No, that was from the cocaine. That was from the cocaine.
The pound of cocaine he snorted.
And an eye pops out. Really, another good, really practical,
very good
really good
practical
effect. And Jeremiah leaves. The next thing you see is he's leaving out of the
Red leaves.
Red leaves, not Jeremiah. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Jeremiah's there forever.
Yeah, Jeremiah's there forever. And you see the weird triangle wooden building is burning down.
Very midsummery.
Yeah. And then we cut to Red is in the Cadillac car, and we see a flashback of the we're assuming is the first time that he meets Mandy, and they're at like a party or something, and Red's wearing that 44 shirt. That's why it's his favorite shirt. That's when they met. And then he kind of hallucinates seeing Mandy sitting beside him, and he has the most psychotic face.
No,
it switches between him looking normal.
It switches between him looking normal.
It's Red's perspective looking at Mandy, and then it switches to Mandy looking back at Red.
Yeah, where he's kind of
he's normal looking,
but then it cuts to him with like
all the
blood red face.
Yeah,
with this.
Let me go one further. That I thought that was a static shot. I don't. I thought that was literally just like, I think they had like movement in the background, like with green screening, but just that shot because he doesn't move. Like
right.
Like his chest isn't even moving from breathing.
Yeah,
it was almost like the
weird grin and these wide eyes,
like the imposed face they do on Sleepaway Camp. It's like just
and
there.
Yes.
And he's there's this red light going on.
This scene kind of like makes me question something.
Yeah.
What if that's what Red looks like during this entire thing? Because whenever we see him like not fighting anyone, he's like has a stoic face. He's showing no emotion. What if that's just his own perspective of himself?
That
also
is
during the we skipped a couple. I think one other animated sequence, but this time
I'm sorry. There's a couple of I forgot about.
We get to this one and like you see like a very like she's very happy looking in this animated sequence.
Her eyes have been red, but they turned to green. And she's standing over this like purple tiger man beast thing that's dead. And from what I've read, this is supposed to symbolize like Mandy's redemption through the revenge that he meted out.
Right.
And then the movie ends as it pans out of the as it cuts to out of the
car.
You see the car going down, and then it pans up into another like really surreal fake sky. Like this is not the real sky.
When I saw that sky, like this is the D&D in me. It reminded me of Keep on the Borderlands, which is a very old module for Dungeons and Dragons, like original Dungeons and Dragons, and just the kind of like, again, you've been prepared for this earlier on because you had the painted on skies twice. Now this is the third time of it. Also, Something that I think either I missed or they missed. She mentions in the very beginning, one of the things they talk about is what is your favorite planet? And she says,
he asks her what her favorite planet is, and she says Jupiter.
She says Jupiter.
And you mentions the storm that's been ravaging for 1,000 years on it. And I didn't think any of those planets up there looked like Jupiter. That was my problem. Like I was expecting Jupiter and Saturn because he mentioned his was probably Saturn.
Yeah.
And then he mentions his favorite is Galactus, which I thought was very funny.
That was also really cute.
That's a call to Nick Cage really likes comic books.
I like the moments in that film that are normal because it'll makes you appreciate the surreality of everything so much more. It allows you to get into that.
And that ending with all of that like surrealistic, like, you know, you get to see this galaxy in the sky and him driving off. It leaves it open to interpretation of what exactly are you seeing? Are you seeing it from his perspective? Is he in the afterlife now because he got gutted a couple of times? Has he died now and he's in the afterlife?
All of this just taking place in his own mind,
or is it all in his head?
Dying.
Or is he now like completely broken and basically like between all the acid and the cocaine and all of these things that he did, is he just now a broken human being because he has this insane look on his face. And then over the credits there's no music.
No.
It's just black background, red text over nothing. And I don't know if any of y'all like fast forwarded through, but at the end after it says, you know, dedicated to Johan Johansson, the composer, then it shows a picture of some of Mandy's sketches. And one of them, like there's two pages. One is like a full page, and then there's like two smaller drawings. I can't remember what's in the smaller drawings, but the bigger full drawing is like red, and then in the background is the head of a tiger. So it's showing that tiger motif connected to red again, and that's Mandy.
I like how you said that so matter of factly, and that's Mandy. That's
Mandy. Everyone,
I needed you to make it like the deepest breath you've ever done.
It's
That's Mandy.
Have you watched it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments.
It's a very trippy movie. That is saying it very lightly.
Yeah, even us like spoiling everything, it would still like watch it.
Yeah, like even like I said, the title card isn't until like an hour and 15 minutes in. You don't even see, like, you see credits in the beginning, but you don't see actually directed by Panos Cosmatos until like the very end. That's like that goes before the rest of the credits.
I think that's it's another artistic bent on that, and the fact that like this movie doesn't even give you credits regular like the regular way they do. Like everything about this movie is off.
Yes.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, it's very atmospheric. Like I said, there's like 3 or 4 things that I read where talking about different things of what the movie was about, so to speak.
Yeah, it's so open to interpretation.
Like the first thing when Nicolas Cage was wanting to be Red, but the director wanted him to be Jeremiah. He was saying this was more about old versus young, and that's why they didn't want
they had
older
to change
Nicolas Cage, so they changed it around a little bit. And then he says like this is about the death of my the death of my parents is kind of in there with this, and like so yeah. This is a really, really trippy movie. There's a lot going on. Like I said, like Ethan said, it can be very slow in the beginning.
Yeah, the first 30, 45 minutes is very slow.
Yeah, but it is very like stylized.
It is over stylized in a good way.
A lot of things, the visuals, and then like a lot of sensory things are like oppressive in this.
Well, again, if you don't spend time living in this world, when you like. We were already, it's like, okay, you almost accept it at the end. It's like, yeah, of course he's going to snort cocaine off of dirty glass. Of course he's going to stick his finger in this fucking acid. He's going to fucking make a fucking +3 acts of hippie smiting. Like all these things that have, if you don't establish the surrealness early.
And the tone.
The lateness is like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? Yeah. So like you have to disengage from the real before you can appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, this is not a reality, because like I said, there's always these odd light sources, like when he was like driving on the ATV, like there was this red light source behind him what shouldn't have been, like it
And like whenever the cultists first saw Mandy had that red glow behind her with the fog.
yeah, I was
When the movie I think that they're watching when she goes into her monologue about the Starlings.
Yeah.
They're watching a movie by Don Dohler. I think it's called Galaxy Beast.
I think so.
That's a legitimate fucking movie.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah,
it looked like a
think so.
Roger Corman early 80s sci-fi classic.
And again, it's just fucking out there. Like
Right.
the normal shit in this movie is also out there.
Right.
Yeah.
A fucking Kraft macaroni and cheese ad has a green goblin vomiting on people. What the fuck?
My Blu-ray copy has some Cheddar Goblin tattoos, stick-on tattoos,
Hell yeah.
temporary tattoos.
There is another film that in atmosphere and tone, not in any other way, not in any cinematography or color usage or anything like that, that reminded me of like feel was The Void.
Okay,
I
So
know what you're talking about
if you
now,
haven't
yeah.
seen The Void,
that's one I wanted to see.
that one is also trippy, but not quite as visually trippy. But look, just in atmosphere and tone, it's very trippy. But it's very like Cthulhu mythos in a lot of ways, also, but in modern. you know.
I was concerned this was going to be something involving the mythos, or at the very least cosmic horror, when she was reading the passage from that book.
Yeah.
And it's very kind of out of space, out of time. It's like, okay, what are we going to do with it? And no, again, we've mentioned this, that, this very surreal, but it's grounded in like real things. Like I could imagine a really bad batch of acid making some people go crazy for a long time.
Right.
something that I just thought about, a way to possibly interpret this, and I'm not saying that this is like the be all end all, but like this could very possibly be these people killed someone he loves. He has problems with alcoholism. There's even like a deleted scene that I watched where they're getting gas and this sheriff like drives up and then just starts shitting on Red, talking about how Mandy is a whore and has fucked everybody and he's a loser because he's a piece of shit alcoholic. And makes it very clear his past and her past and everything. I can see why it was cut, and he was a really gigantic piece of shit. This could possibly be seen as he just like, this is his hallucination of how he deals with it by just falling into alcohol and all these other drugs, you know, cocaine and LSD. It just everything to numb the pain and to come to feel better about himself that he did that. So that's I think that is one way that you could possibly even look at this. You know, that's not necessarily the be all end all.
Right.
There's a lot of ambiguity. Ambiguity. Thank you, Ethan. About this movie.
I watched quite a few. Jay mentioned the Red Letter Media. I watched a lot of ending explained videos on YouTube to try and like interpret things myself, and none of them had like a better like idea than we've all like, you know, except for Red Letter. Like it was just it's so open ended. Of what's going on.
Yeah, I wish I would have had a little bit more time to
answer this
behind
question.
the scenes
Where
thing.
does he go from this?
Yeah,
Like, where can you go
I think
from
that's
this?
the way it ended in the way it did because of like where's the answer there?
yeah,
you know,
because he's not. You know, he avenged her, but like he doesn't really have anything.
he doesn't have a
else now.
path now. Yeah,
And also like he's severely. He's past what the broken he was even right after she died, because just the things that he has done has made him less human now.
right. Because
you know?
you watched your wife murdered in front of your eyes, and you killed everybody involved. Now you've murdered X amount of people. Like,
Yeah.
how does that fuck with you?
Yeah, in absolutely horrific ways.
Right.
Like he still has the blood on his face.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't ever wash that
Multiple
off.
levels of trauma in so many different ways there.
So yeah. So final thoughts. How did it? So anything else that anybody wants to?
Let's go around and we'll
Yeah.
finish it that way. Ethan, go for it.
Yeah.
sir.
As much as I enjoyed the later half of the movie, I honestly don't see myself watching this again.
Okay.
Like, just trying to go, just imagine going through the first half. I'm like Jody said earlier. I'm not the biggest fan of like long drawn out movies.
Well, you haven't been exposed to many of them, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That is also.
I'm making a
But
strong assumption
also,
there.
if you don't,
It's like
if you're not used to them, like getting used to them can be a slog. So like,
we were talking about French expressionist films earlier, and that's like, a lot of those films are dramas with literally nothing but like, pannings of, architecture and things like that.
But as much as I like the
hallucinatory.
As much as I loved my acid trip watching this movie.
Yeah, you don't have to do drugs, watch this movie.
yeah.
I feel bad for the person that does both.
You're a stronger person than I am.
All
'Cause
you,
I can't
all you
imagine.
would see is just a smear of color. That's
Yeah.
it.
It might just normalize it for you.
Yeah, it might
Yeah.
even it out.
They watch
Shit.
it.
Oh my
Entirely
god!
different movie.
What if this was just like a romantic comedy, but you have to take acid in order to be able to see it?
It's like advanced 3D glasses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the movie. I just don't see myself watching it again.
Okay. Are you glad that you were at least exposed to it?
I'm glad I was exposed to it. That way I could like
Conversation piece.
Yeah.
An interesting conversation piece.
There's at least like this is a movie where you could like put on at least pieces of it and have people go, "What the fuck is
I
this?"
think that if I was going to try and suggest this movie to anybody who wasn't used to seeing anything like this, it'd be like, this is like, especially the bathroom scene. That's the most Nick Cage you're ever going to see Nick Cage in, and also
Nick Cage is all over the place.
But
what I forgot. Oh man, when he's like fighting one of the biker that shoots at him, he's like, "You're my shit. You're my shit." Like right before he like cuts his throat.
I gotta do this real quick.
Yeah.
Mandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is LSD.
Jesus Christ. How long you been holding on to that one?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
It felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are your final thoughts about it?
I enjoyed it. The thing is, for Ethan, I would say, like, for me, I felt the same way a little bit at the beginning until it got going. When that first title card popped up, I was in at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you know how everything plays out,
Mm-hmm.
you're prepared mentally for what you're going to view.
Yeah.
I would say that actually, condones a second, viewing.
Yeah.
I will definitely watch it again. I don't know when, because it is like, it's 2 hours, and that's the only gripe I have is I wish they could have cut like 10 minutes out somewhere, maybe in the beginning. I know, and I agree with Jay that you have to be set in the tone and the atmosphere of the world and be grounded, but I do believe they could have trimmed sometime somewhere, because 2 hours is a lot of time.
Yeah, I think
for
there's
as
also
slow
some,
as some of it is.
some symmetry to it, because if I'm not mistaken, I didn't perfectly time it out, but I think Mandy dies at almost exactly the hour mark.
Yeah.
Well, no, let me go even further on that. So I did actually time it.
Okay.
When the movie is exactly half over, it's the last time that the light is kind of shining on Nick Cage's face as he's watching her die.
Okay, yeah.
So literally the start for the revenge, the reason for the revenge and the start of the seeking revenge
It's exactly
literally
halfway.
is almost halfway through.
That's what I figured from just looking at it when I was pausing it and everything.
Because I want to say it was 2 hours and 3 minutes or something like that.
something like that. So yeah, I obviously love this movie. I was the one who recommended it. I don't really mind slow burns. In fact, to me it never feels like a slow burn. Because you're learning about these people, and you kind of have to. I really like revenge films. That's one of my favorite kind of subgenres. And most of the best ones let you kind of buy into to the people before something tragic happens.
I would imagine. Well, you have to.
But yeah,
If you don't buy into them, then the movie.
And if
doesn't
you want to
work.
see another Nick Cage revenge film, watch Pig. It's actually one of his favorite films he's ever done. He mentioned that in a press conference.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I love this movie. If you're a fan of like trippy movies, if you're a fan of weird kind of this is avant-garde, but it's not like super avant-garde. Trust me, it can get weirder.
Well, Which is good though, because like horror as a genre, like 90% of the time after a certain time period, it's very stagnant.
This feels like something old, but also
it's
something
different.
new.
It's
something
different in the Midsummer / Hereditary different. It's different in a good way.
Yeah, I think this is a very good movie to kind of broaden your horizons a little bit, but also realize that if you do have a problem like Ethan said, with slower movies that take a little while to get going, because it really like the last hour is when it gets really trippy. But there's subtle little things in the beginning that are also kind of trippy, but it's just not as it's
like psychedelic.
It's not as plot forward in the beginning. You're mostly just kind of setting.
It's a very simple story, but it works very well.
Jay, any final thoughts?
To the director of photography, to the director of lighting, and to the art direction behind this is absolutely fantastic. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. I agree with Jody. There's 10 minutes that could have been lost here. And I don't think you would have lost any of the meaning behind anything going on with this. But again, this world that they've created in is extremely fleshed out without a lot having to do with it. You don't have to explain every little thing about every little thing here. It's just like you see visually that this place is not real. It's very again surreal, and the way that is conveyed and the way they put it together. And again, specifically for the art direction, I almost wanted to say heavy metal-esque animation cuts that happened in the second half for the what's the term? I can't remember the term, but just the use of painting along with the reel. So it's like you go from real, and all of a sudden now this is a painting, and then now it's painting back into the real. But then again, it's that Technicolor pop. It's that almost neon pop of the lighting in this thing is just amazing. And again, just the use of shadows when he's watching her burn. That screen is mostly dark, and every so often the light will pick up like in his cheekbones, around his eyes, like especially like the water glistening in his eyes. Like it's just so well shot.
One real quick thing I forgot to mention that the movie made me feel uncomfortable a lot of time, and that was because it makes you feel very claustrophobic. Everything is very tightly shot. Like you're either in a van, you're in a small room. You're at a little, like, the general store feels very closed in. It's very,
even when they're outside,
yes,
they're surrounded by trees.
Yes.
Like there's always something surrounding them.
Yeah, there's no escape from anything that's happening. It's kind of how you feel.
Yeah, but I like this movie. I don't recommend this movie. I think before you go to Mandy, do something along the lines of a David Lynch movie, like Mulholland Drive, not Blue Velvet. I don't hate Blue Velvet, but you're not ready for. No one's ready for Blue Velvet.
It's outside the norm.
I'll watch Blue Velvet any day over Mulholland Drive. There's certain parts.
Speaking of
movie
I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot to mention something. During the time when she starts tripping balls and laughing at his fucking flaccid penis, he fucking quotes Blue Velvet. He's like, "Don't fucking laugh at me."
Oh, okay.
I thought, "Don't fucking look at me" from Dennis Hopper's line. Don't fucking look at me.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, "Don't fucking laugh at me. Don't you fucking laugh at me."
Yeah, there's parts of Mulholland Drive that super disturb me, and I cannot watch them. I was mad at Botchamania for putting that scene in there. It really,
That's why I've been thinking about Mulholland Drive. Okay.
I do not. I do like. Ooh, really like.
Yeah, there's some things you just.
I don't ever want to see that again, and it really fucks with me.
I like Mulholland Drive, but
I think Mulholland Drive is a very good movie. I'm just never, ever going to watch it again.
Lost Highway, I've seen multiple
very
times.
Specific
Lost
things.
Highway would be another good
I've watched Lost Highway multiple times. I've only seen Mulholland Drive once.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of other like similar things that are kind of
trippy movies. Like I said, I mentioned The Void. Jay mentioned David Lynch films.
Another good movie with that has to do with LSD. Climax by Gaspar Noé. It's this. It's two. It's done in two single takes of this dance crew in France. And they're the first half is them practicing, and then they go to celebrate, and somebody has spiked the punch with LSD, and then they all fucking trip balls, and it is
in a different way. Black
rough.
Swan,
Suspiria,
the
old one. or the new one,
Yes.
or both.
I still haven't seen the new one,
The
but
new one's really good.
Jody, you got.
I know. Black Swan though.
Black Swan
is also
Swan.
really
Black Swans
strange.
is-
in a lot of
Darren
ways.
Aronofsky's Pi is also another one
Yeah.
that gets very into the surreal.
Yeah. The Fountain, Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Serpent and the
it's
Rainbow.
surreal, weird.
And of course, Cloud Atlas by the Wachowski siblings.
Tapping out.
You watched it 5 times.
This
and then
director
watched
also
Mandy.
did Beyond the Black Rainbow. I haven't watched
Which I
that,
need
but
to see that.
I've heard good
That
things
was another
about
one.
it.
see it.
That was his other one. with
Yeah,
Cage,
I've heard good things about it. I think a good way to cap this off is some really what is I think probably the best trivia ever on IMDb. So this is going to be our capstone for Mandy. Sand calls Red a pig. Nicolas Cage later starred in Pig. Thank you, everybody. That was Mandy. So Ethan, tell us about one of our friends who also do podcasting. You pick.
I get to pick. Oh,
Yeah.
the honors.
Hurry up
on
because
me.
we're going way too fucking
I
long.
want to tell
Like-
you about Fearology. Our good friend J.L. Kite, he hosts a show about called Fearology, about his personal takes on horror films, media, whether it's American horror, Mexican horror, Korean. Who knows where he might come up next? Who knows what's up his sleeves? Who knows where his sleeves are? Again, that's Fearology. Listen to it on Spotify and Anchor.
Instead of Korean, I thought you said Caribbean. I was like, what?
Hey, that could be a thing.
Kevin Shelton and Jared Hubbard have a
Jody, tell us about one of our friends. You pick.
have a show called Silence Your Cell Phones. They talk about movies and streaming and all of that stuff, and they have a YouTube channel and everything like that. Check them out. They're all on all the platforms for podcasts.
Yeah. Jay.
Whiskey and Wrestling is the premier wrestling news and opinion podcast on the earth. Maybe not Mars. I haven't been there, but our friends Jason Holder and Michael Hill will take you through the week's worth of news and views in the world of wrestling. Last week, you could probably guess what they dealt with, but if this is out of time for you and you're catching this 2 years ago, they talked about the whole CM Punk gate, which is how I'm calling
Which
it.
is still going on.
Which is
CM
still
Punk
going
gate.
on.
Yeah.
CM Punk owns the Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks.
Yeah,
Center
apparently.
frame. You'll know what I'm talking about if you watch the latest episode
Christ.
of Dynamite. So yes, the
Oh,
Whiskey and
man.
Wrestling every Sunday on all the major podcasting networks. Michael Hill and Jason Holder.
Oh,
the week's worth
imagine
of
being a
news and views.
CM Punk super fan right now. Jesus, that would be.
That's when you should make a realization.
Yeah,
with-
look at your life.
There has to be at some
like
point.
really evaluate some things,
A
please.
year ago, none of us would have said, "Wow, Triple H was right about that guy." And then a year later, it's like, "Yep,
yeah,
100%."
yeah.
Just like how 3 months ago, none of us were clapping and excited for the acclaimed.
yeah.
Again,
That's different.
depending on the view from the mirror, 2 weeks.
Yeah. For some people, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in Goshen, Mississippi, and you'd like to, get into some kind of hobby, maybe it be board games, maybe it be miniatures, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, RPGs, puzzles, come on down to McNarb Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi. They've got everything that you need. We have RPG nights on Wednesday. We have board game nights on Thursday. Different
Magic FNMs
Magic on Fridays
And
and all
Saturday.
through. Really, you could
Pokemon on Tuesday,
yeah,
And Saturday.
Every day is something different and new.
yeah. There's always something different.
except Mondays when they're closed.
yeah, the Mondays they're closed.
Don't show up on Mondays,
Uh,
or we'll shoot you.
come check them out and maybe pick up a board game or get into a card game, or maybe you'll want some paints for miniatures or anything like that.
Would
maybe
you say they paints and something else? Paints and
paints and
something
else? Oh, they have materials for like basing.
material like basing.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. They have
yeah,
materials for basing and
they
something
have
else?
card sleeves. If you have
card sleeves. Oh, that's very good.
if
Do
you
they have
need some sleeves for your
would you
cards.
say they have card sleeves and?
They have coat sleeves and shit.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, that's what you were looking for. Oh, okay.
did you not realize what I was trying to set you
Oh,
up?
I
No, because we've
realized
been
I was just
recording
keep
this
going.
Oh, there
podcast
you
for
go.
3 hours, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
check them out.
I'm canceling the.
Yeah,
the
that
afterward
thing's
for
not
this week.
happening
Yeah.
because
We're gonna wait till
gone.
next week.
Yeah, I figured.
Because
going
next
after
week,
this.
ladies and gentlemen, Ethan takes back over the hosting duties as his role every 5 episodes when we present to you Chalkboard, our top 5 list. This this coming week, not this week, but the one upcoming, is going to be the top 5 wrestlers of all time. Please note, whiskey and wrestling is not invited.
The views of James McCarthy do not necessarily reflect them.
I'm setting up an invasion angle. God damn it!
Because that worked so well last time.
It did.
Yeah.
That was a very awesome part
and
of the
time
show.
before that.
That was also an awesome
that.
part. They didn't invade that one time. We just like, hey, come on, it's good to have you here, guys.
Or how it works so well every year in November when it's Survivor Series.
Mike and Jason, hit me with a kendo stick next time.
They wanted to hit me with a kendo stick the other day, but they couldn't find it. So
Wait, where did the kendo stick go?